Constantly shifting through the time-space continuum, Metron's three disciples observe the universe from the Mobius Couch.
Do you believe in life after love? I can feel something inside me say, I really don't think you're strong enough. No. Do you believe in life after love? I can feel something inside me say, I really don't think you're on the Mobius Couch. A time-space interdimensional vehicle from which your three hosts oversee the world of comics, comic book movies. Ladies and gentlemen, today's lyrical intro is, of course, 1999's number one hit single, Believe. Is it just Believe, or do you? I think it's Believe by Cher, or do you? I think it's just Believe. Just the word Believe is the title of the song.
Believe.
I think it's Believe by Cher, which is an anthem for straight people and has been since 1999. So we're here today to talk about Batman: The Long Halloween, the sequel, Dark Victory.
That's right, just Batman: Dark Victory. Don't read your weird.
Okay,
title.
It's just Dark Victory. It's just Dark Victory, of course, in reference to Trump winning the 2024 election.
Oh, God. Cut that.
No, we're gonna edit that. We're gonna edit that out because it's not funny. It's actually tragic. No, we're talking about Batman: Dark Victory, which is a Batman comic by Misters Jeph, Loeb, and Tim Sale. Before we talk about that, I'm going to introduce the hosts of the Mobius Couch. As usual, I'm Alessandro, and I'm joined by Joe.
Oh, hey, Al. Hey, man.
What's up, bro?
Not much.
Cool.
Not
Cool.
much.
Yeah.
Not much.
Yeah, I mean, it's end of the year. Yeah, it's Q4. Not much is going on. That's pretty normal.
Yeah.
And we're also joined by Patrick. What's up, Pat?
What's up?
What's
What's going on, guys? I'm good. So good to see you guys. Been so long.
Nothing much is going on. Q4.
Nothing.
Not much business is happening. Pretty normal.
Literally nothing.
Yeah, everything's totally normal.
So
I was what was I gonna say?
We're gonna talk about Batman.
We are gonna talk about Batman. It does annoy me that it's called Batman: The Long Halloween: Dark Victory now. The sequel.
It's not only
the sequel: Dark Victory.
Well, I want to show, if you can, for those of you watching YouTube, you can see this on podcast. You can't. My edition is entitled Batman: The Long Halloween Deluxe Edition, the sequel: Dark Victory.
That's ridiculous.
So that's
yeah.
Well, you got to get the branding
just called
in there.
Batman: Dark Victory, which is what it was called in 1999 and the year 2000. In the year 2000.
Well, I'm sure they did. I'm sure this is some kind of like reissue that's supposed to pair up with the original.
I think it's probably meant to just help people because it's so old and maybe like, so they understand it's a direct sequel to Long Halloween.
Yeah.
Like, how else would you know? But like,
I guess
something like the sequel to the Long Halloween, like small and down at the bottom or something. Because the Long Halloween on that cover is so large. It's very,
well, it must be a thing where they thought it could sell better with that branding. But
I guess.
But that's not what we're here to talk.
They're like Long Halloween, but it's also really Dark Victory.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, first off, everybody, calm down. Hold on to your pants. This is part one. We're going to do the first 7 issues as part one. And then we're going to follow up with part 2. So just
we did Long Halloween in one episode, right?
Yeah, but we're going to do this one in 7 because...
And I'm glad we are, because like it needs some time to breathe, I think. This one's a little more...
Well, let's get into it, because whatever. Quick overall take. I just want to get into this. 2 things I've said with confidence for most of my adult life. The best Batman film ever made is Mask of the Phantasm, and the best Batman comic ever written is The Long Halloween. I might have been wrong about that comic because I love Dark Victory.
Dark Victory
so fucking
is
much.
So good.
It is so good.
It's so.
I know that it's very sequel, and you kind of have to have read Long Halloween to really get it out. So it doesn't really stand on its own amazingly.
No,
but good God, if you've read Long Halloween,
this is just like
incredible. It's so one point I want to make. This has a lot of kind of mafia crime family stuff in it, and just like in film, The Godfather 2 many people think is superior to The Godfather 1. Ladies and gentlemen, The Dark Victory I believe is superior to Long Halloween. I just love this. I love the hell out of this book.
You hit on it nicely, Al, but I think the only reason I would even say that it's not is because I feel like you need the Long Halloween to make it work.
You do definitely. I mean, you definitely do.
And that's the only reason I would be like, it's not as good because you need.
Well, why don't we say this? The Long Halloween and Dark Victory together are the greatest Batman book ever written.
It's hands down.
Yeah.
I love this so much. It was so great. Okay, but that was
How
my
do
quick
you
take.
feel?
Yeah.
So as far as comics go, it's amazing. I enjoyed Long Halloween more than Dark Victory. It's hard to compare. I think it's a sequel, and I think it holds up as a sequel. Yeah, so I think you're naturally going to compare it to Long Halloween as opposed to like other random Batman stuff. So it's the bar is already high, and I think it definitely, as far as sequels go, it's incredible. But I do think the original was more fun for me. It was more interesting. It held my attention better. This is I think what Joe, when you just made the comment about breaking this up into two, there is a lot going on. You really kind of have to pay attention, I think, a little bit more maybe than to what was going on in Long Halloween. But
yeah, this one's a little deeper.
Overall, fantastic. I love the way that they draw and write Selena Kyle / Catwoman is my favorite rendition of her. And I enjoy reading stuff when Batman's younger and he's more flawed, and you get to see kind of him fighting with himself as opposed to who he is like in the JLA, where he's just this infallible human who never makes mistakes and is always fighting against like some crazy external force. You get to see a little bit more conflict with his character in this, which I appreciated. But yeah, overall take is I loved it.
Are you waiting for me to go?
Yeah, did you? You didn't.
I was like, I kind of already went. I just followed on top of you. But yeah, I feel the same way. The art, Al's, your thoughts. Both of you combined sum me up pretty well. I think the only thing I would say is like a slight caveat is like that the art is like tiny bit sloppier in this.
Okay. Again, this won't help podcast listeners, but you want to talk about sloppy art? Look at that. Look at that.
Just a tiny bit. Not even in the beginning.
Catwoman just look. I've never seen a woman look as good as Catwoman looks.
But I think but to the other point, I think the writing is like more. It's like he's trying to trick the same audience a second time, so he's trying way harder to like keep you at bay on like who the killer is, kind of thing. And I think they did a really good job. I mean, I did this before we started recording, but I read it in my old copies of individual issues. But this little guy, I don't remember this, but apparently issue 0, which is in your copies, was by Wizard magazine. Remember
what? That? Yeah, Wizard was awesome.
It was like a special thing in like Wizard that they like put out like as like maybe as like a trailer, so to speak, for the book, I guess. But anyway, thought that was pretty interesting. I was like, Wizard, remember that? And the first issue, the thing I love about these individual issues is like the first issue, not so great because it's gloss, but like the rest of them are this amazing like matte, nice texture, and the black is just dead black. So like when the figures are on the covers, each individual cover, you're just like, this is so great. I love it.
One just with the art, because Joe saying it's sloppier, because I agree that it's sloppier, but it's almost, I felt like it was almost intentional, because there's
I don't think it's sloppy. I think it's just more
sloppy's
stylized.
The wrong word. I think it's like he's leaning more into his own style. Yeah. Like, and it would just get
it's also
weirder at times.
I think for me though, there would be certain beats where he would draw Batman and Catwoman like completely different panel to panel. Like
that's kind of what I mean. It's not like there's nothing really, and maybe when we're flipping through, I'll point something out specifically, but like this is more like, it's hard to kind of put your finger on, but like as a whole, I feel like Long Halloween was like very precise, and this one is like a little less, even though it was in his style. Like, this one's a little like, just a little all over the place.
It did feel so, and I this is going to sound like a negative comment, but I don't mean it this way. But it almost seemed like Tim Sale doing Tim Sale, like almost
especially that
caricature, exaggerated Tim Sale. And again, I don't mean it negatively, but I just mean it went very Tim Sale. It had a kind of a super almost like 70s French kind of heavy metal Mobius feel to it as well, which the Long Halloween had to some degree.
It's funny because like the first issue, not so much. The first issue feels like
but later
straight out of the Long Halloween.
Yeah,
but as it goes on, I feel like
have kind of like a Corto Maltese kind of 70s European comic vibe to it.
So one of the reasons I brought this one up is because we read Long Halloween around October last year, and I was like, oh, it'd be kind of fun to do that again. Although by the time we're recording this, it's late November now. But the Long Halloween, the sequel, The Last Halloween is now hitting comic book stands, and I was like, oh, I want to read Dark Victory so bad now. So that's one of the reasons I was like, hey,
who's drawing The Last Halloween?
So yeah, as most people might know, or maybe not,
rest in power.
Tim Sale passed away, so he's no longer around. So there was an issue 0 of that, and he drew that. So there's an issue 0 of The Last Halloween as well. But right now, it's the first issue was Eduardo Risso from 100 Bullets. I don't know if you guys ever read that. He's from he's done Batman stuff before too. So they're not replacing Tim. Every issue is going to be drawn by a different artist because they're like, no one can do it. So I was like, oh, I kind of like that. So I'll see. I mean, we'll see as it goes. Like maybe issue 3 won't be great or whatever because you don't like that guy or whoever's drawing it. But so far so good. But we'll see. I don't know.
All right. Okay, but before we get into issue 0, because this starts with kind of a 0 issue, some general production notes on Batman Dark Victory. So this was a 14-issue run running from 1999 to 2000. So this saw us through Y2K. Jeph Loeb and Tim Sale, we mentioned, are the creators. This was conceived as the sequel to Long Halloween and the conclusion of kind of the story arc starting with Frank Miller's Year One. It was very much supposed to kind of be a trilogy of Year One, Long Halloween, Dark Victory. I know now there's
a lot of Year One,
but at the time,
characters in this.
Yeah. Originally, Tim Sale didn't want to do the sequel because he didn't like the idea of introducing Robin. He didn't think it felt his dark aesthetic for the Batman character.
Yeah.
But eventually, Loeb sold him on kind of the idea of examining Batman's loneliness and isolation in this, and how Robin was kind of an anchor he needed back to kind of the world of other people.
I think that's not that he didn't blatantly say that, but it's a very clear recurring theme is Bruce's aloneness.
Well, honestly, the topic, so the Long Halloween is about kind of the trinity of Gordon, Harvey, and Batman. And Dark Victory is very much about how all of those 3 people are isolated, very isolated. Gordon is isolated from his family and his coworkers. Harvey's lost Gilda, Batman's alone. It's very much kind of examining the isolation of those 3 men as opposed to kind of them working together in the original Halloween. But we can get to that in a second. Jeph Loeb, of course, known for being the writer-producer on Smallville and Lost. Also, have to call this out, a soft cancel because of alleged anti-Asian stances. He supported the white casting of Iron Fist, and apparently showed up to a press junket in a karate uniform.
Oh, I remember that.
And
I don't remember that.
Yeah, so there was some kind of Iron Fist press junket for season 2, and he wore a karate outfit and was going to fight the actress who plays Colleen in Iron Fist, and she made him take the suit off because she said it was, it was not in good taste.
Which call.
It sort of wasn't.
What the
in addition, Asian actors on Daredevil, which he also produced, have come out and said they were paid less and kind of treated as extras and not as recurring cast members.
Yeah, he was kind of in charge of that whole little Marvel bubble of television there.
So do want to call out, again, we're going to take the easy way out and not really address this, but we just did want to call out that there's been allegations about anti-Asian thoughts.
On the other hand, I'm going to praise his writing in this a lot.
Yeah, and sadly...
Sorry in advance.
Yeah, but we do want to put that, we do want to put that out there. Tim Sale, I could find nothing negative about. The man was just a great artist.
He was a good person.
Was not canceled. He did mostly collaborate with Jeph Loeb, almost exclusively in comics. And he died in 2022, kidney failure. Really sad. It was not an old person
he wasn't
passing away quietly.
He wasn't young, but he wasn't old either. He was 60.
And again, I think I've made this point before on the podcast. If you're 90 and you die, it's time to go. But a young person kidney failure, that's tragedy.
Yeah.
Another Tim Sale note, Christian Bale, in sort of press junkets around Batman Begins and Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises, specifically praised Sale's imagery of Batman and said that he tried to imitate Sale's poses in the films. So he and Nolan both kind of, I think we'll talk about it, but like both clearly read Halloween and Dark Victory for inspiration. Yeah. But Christian Bale specifically called out Sale's art as an inspiration for him to get into the character. So that was a cool.
I mean, and we've said it before, but like on the note of it being one of the best Batman comics ever made, if not the best, I truly love his portrayal of Batman. He's just a monster of a man.
Oh, literally a monster. Yeah. Like he is horrifying.
And he punches like Solomon Grundy. You believe that he can take down Solomon Grundy. Like I don't go like, oh yeah, the Solomon Grundy is super strong. Like I go, yeah, if he hits him in the right spots over and over again, you could probably do it. You know, like
also honestly, Batman is also a Grundy. When you see him next to normal people, he towers. He's a terrifying figure.
He's huge. And I love it too.
Yeah,
and especially as Bruce, like it's almost more offsetting when it's Bruce and not Batman.
Yeah.
Because as Batman, you can be like, it's costume and there's more there, and like it's easy to kind of forget. But when he's standing there as like a normal dude in clothes and he's like next to somebody and he's just huge, you're like, God damn, that is.
But connecting crazy. This to issue 0, just the way my edition opens up is with this image of Batman, which is just it's terrifying. It's incredible. If you were
that's from issue 1. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you were, it's the beginning of issue 0 or whatever, but.
Well, I mean, that panel is from issue 1. That's all I was saying.
Okay, but yeah, if you're a criminal robbing a diamond store and that swoops in on you, it's terrifying. Yeah, the way Sale draws him is really chef's kiss.
The issue 0 really just introduces the new district attorney.
Porter.
Yeah,
I like her character, and when I read this, I binged it because I wanted to know who was the killer. I binged it. And then reread it and rereading it, knowing kind of what Porter is really up to, it's way more interesting. Her character is way more interesting the second read through.
I
was kind of disappointed. I thought the twist.
Oh, well, is this your first time too?
This is my first time reading it.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
I'd never read this.
All right.
I my only Porter thing. So I actually liked her character a lot. I mean, we're going to get to this more maybe in part 2. The way her storyline kind of ends, and also the way Catwoman's kind of end, it's not the Bechdel test jingle yet, but I think the female characters could have been handled more.
I disagree with you on Porter, but I guess we'll talk about that part.
I just thought that the twist is just that she was like a schoolgirl in love with Harvey. I'm
thinking of it more in the sense of like he used her and threw her away when he got his wife back, because that's what it felt like to me.
Well, he definitely did that too, but even from her, and I just thought there could have been more there, because she was a super interesting character until that.
It was a little too Harley Quinzel obsessed, like
very exactly. You're right on it, Pat. That was like nail on the head right there. Right, that's it.
Yeah, through the lens of how much Harley's been in media now, sure, but like in 1999, no, I didn't.
Well, I just mean, I'm actually comparing her more to like Batman the Animated Series Harley, because, well, not necessarily. My point with Porter is that she is a very strong, smart character that goes toe to toe with Gordon and deals with Batman and deals with these insane, the rogues gallery of Batman criminals. And she's got a very distinct composure about her as the district attorney. And then anytime she's with Harvey, she's just this obsessive fangirl, which reminded me a lot of how Harley Quinzel.
No, you're right. It was very Harley Quinn Joker, because also Harvey at the time is already a two-faced creep, crazy monster,
right? Yeah,
and that she's so head over heels in love with him. I mean, it's very much a Harley Joker thing.
Yeah. All right, so we get a bit with her talking to Alberto.
Also, I guess spoiler alert, but yeah.
Oh, it's okay. I mean,
but Porter's
spoiler. This came out 24 years.
Well, but also this is part 1. I mean, I feel like for part 1 we should try to preserve some.
We're gonna spoil stuff.
Okay.
The whole point is to analyze the book as we read it, having had read it. So anyway, I love that. So it's really just Alberto and Janice talking about him getting released, essentially, kind of thing. And I love that they stuck Calendar Man across from him. It's fucking great.
Calendar.
And then there's a brief
Calendar Man. I guess we're
with
just
her and
since we're
Gordon.
going full spoiler.
Yeah.
This is the introduction we get to Calendar Man is him in his little glass tube.
Yeah.
And then the later twist that he's spent his whole life in the fucking closet behind another glass tube. It's just, he is insane. Like this dude is. Well, first of all, he's sassy as ever. Like he's a sassy, spicy queen as he was in Long Halloween. But I just love that he gets out of Arkham and immediately puts himself back into like an observation glass looking at Alberto again. It's just what he does. It's just what he does.
Well, we'll get to it, but when he's on trial talking to Two-Face, that was one of my favorite back and forths the entire
it's
book.
really good. Yeah.
Really Batman comes, so Porter and Gordon talk, and he's basically just like, you know, it was nothing like nothing like the one you're entertaining that kept him from going to the gas chamber kind of thing. Like Holiday killed more than a dozen people over that year. Like Gordon's just like, why the fuck are you defending this guy? Like, why are you opening this back up? Like we had this little nipped in the butt, you know, that kind of thing. And you know, he's basically like, you're making a mistake, and she's like, I don't think so. But obviously, she's enacting part of her plan with Two-Face right now. And
but I do like the part that, I mean, obviously later we found out she's working with Two-Face, which kind of adds that dimension to it. Mm-hmm. At this point in time, I do think it's interesting that basically what she's presenting to Gordon is this idea that you and your vigilante thug like went dudes near death, get confessions extra legally, and put people in jail. And her main point is like, this is legally problematic to jail people based on this. And so I thought that was an interesting aspect to
and he's like, yeah, but he did it. And she's like, then prove it. You know, or what? And I'm like, all right.
But her point, but it is like real, you know, you can't just legally say like, trust me, the guy did it. I beat him up and I know he did it. Like, that's not legal.
Right. It's not good police work.
Yeah. So I do like that they're presenting that angle of it. And that's what
I like that too.
You know, pushing. Yeah.
This scene with Batman, not Bruce, but with Gordon. It really does kind of set up at least the first half of Gordon's arc. Like it's just him being alone, his family being estranged from him. Like even Porter, he sees as like an adversary, like whereas Dent he was friends with, you know, kind of thing. And then like I just love the sad, like, I miss him kind of thing comment, and Batman's just like, don't. And it's just like, fuck that guy.
I like that exchange because it also shows how Batman and Gordon, even though they're still working together, have become estranged. They're no longer supporting each other. You know, Gordon
and that's played out more. I mean, obviously, issue 0 is like a trailer for the book, so like they're kind of rehashing things that they'll say in the next issue, basically, but like. Or rather, pre-hashing things. I don't know. They're prefacing issue 1 with a lot of things that'll come later, but
but going back to that theme of loneliness.
But Gordon and Batman specifically, like the way they're playing off each other right away in issue 1 is basically like, "Hey, how do you like? What's your plan?" And he's like, and Batman just doesn't say anything. He's just silent, and he's like, "I have a plan." Well, what is it? You know, and you're like, God damn, all right, dude. You could throw him a bone or at least let him know what's going on. Like, you don't have to work with the guy, but like you could say, like, this is what's happening or whatever.
But that's exactly, but again, this is the theme of loneliness that Loeb is exploring here. Is in Long Halloween, Harvey, Gordon, and Batman very much did share plans, go at things from all three angles, use legal, police, and extra police work. And this is
Batman's
from
like
the bat
using the police right now and Gordon as like information or leverage or whatever he needs, like, or as like a feint, like you go that way and I'll go this way where the real trouble is. Like he's working with them, but only like as a means to his own ends rather than as partners.
This is showing they're completely separate because Gordon reaches out to Batman, I need your emotional support, and Batman just says, it's almost like a couple where the child dies and they become estranged and get, you know, and separate. It's almost that sort of dynamic.
That's a good
analogy.
Because it is Gordon seems to be wanting to kind of maintain a bond with Batman, and then we'll get to it, but jumping around, like one of my favorite beats in this story is when Batman confesses to Alfred that he was about to tell Harvey everything. He's Batman. That's how much he trusted this guy.
Yeah.
And this guy's gone off the deep end and has gone from his closest ally to one of his biggest villains. So he held Harvey in higher esteem than even Gordon. So now he's looking at Gordon probably like, you're 2 steps away from becoming a corrupt commissioner, probably. Like, it just kind of Batman really retreats into himself. And I think after, not that Gordon's not suffering the betrayal and loss of Harvey as well, but it has really fucked Bruce up big time.
And aside from Alfred, the other 2 people in his life are essentially Catwoman and then eventually Robin. But the way he handles those relationships, especially Catwoman in the first 6 issues or so, not great. He's he's like pouring himself into Batman and ignoring Selina.
Yeah.
And then just ignoring Catwoman as it's really interesting. It makes me wonder, like, would Selina and, I mean, obviously it would be different, but like the same thing with Two-Face. Like if he had just been like, hey, it's me, that's why I keep missing our dates, or whatever. Like, how do you, I mean, I think he loves her as Selina, but then he knows she's Catwoman. Like, why doesn't he just go,
does he know? I don't think he knows.
So my one complaint, this was the same complaint I had. No, Joe.
He doesn't.
My big complaint about Long Halloween is my same complaint about Dark Victory. It's impossible that Selina and Bruce don't know each other's identity. How can they keep doing this?
I know.
It is untenable.
I'm attracted to 2 men that are enormous beasts, and he doesn't the same thing.
Yeah,
it's just first of all, nobody is built like fucking Catwoman. There's no way you could date someone built like that and think, well, this has to be a different human being than Catwoman. She's got Chun-Li thighs.
It's not like it's not like, maybe if he'd only like interacted with Catwoman from afar or something, but he's tackled her to the ground. Like, they've wrapped their bodies around each other. Like, there's no way he doesn't go, this is familiar.
And this is something that in Long Halloween made no sense. In Dark Victory, it makes less sense. How can they not know each other's identity?
Remember, if I'm mistaken, correct me, but I feel like we came to the conclusion that he must know who she is.
He doesn't. It's confirmed in this that he doesn't.
But in Dark Victory, he 100%. I think.
Okay, so clearly he doesn't. However, I feel like you and I, the 3 of us, came to the conclusion that he must know who she is.
But I think we gave him the benefit of in Long Halloween.
Yeah, maybe we just
gave him the benefit of the doubt. And
clearly not. It's clearly shouldn't have done that.
Stated that they're morons and have no idea.
Speaking about alone, the first line in this entire book is "I am alone."
But he did back to the Catwoman thing though. He definitely doesn't know who it is because he has an internal monologue about how Selina's voice is like sweet and like tender or something, and how it's so different from Catwoman's sultry.
Yeah, they can't possibly be the same.
Oh, that's interesting. And I read that as like she's doing a good job playing both sides.
Playing both sides, maybe. I don't know. But
look, I
will say this is just a common. This isn't even a Dark Victory note. I'm tired of the will they, won't they with Batman and Catwoman. Just fucking get married already and be a
well, haven't they done
couple.
that? They have done that.
Are they still together though? Do they not?
I don't think so.
Like, yeah,
no,
exactly.
Like together.
What the fuck? Like, why are we doing this?
Yeah, just do it. No, you know why? Because if you do that, the second you do that, Catwoman's boring.
No, she's not.
And if you're gonna,
you can still make her awesome. You can still make her awesome, like in a different way, maybe. But I don't know.
I feel like you could make Catwoman married to him and just be a not normal. She doesn't have to fucking start living in the mansion and work out of the back. She could do her own shit. Like,
so I actually, and we might want to edit this out.
Like real power couple.
Well, we might want to edit this out, but you know how like there's all these like 18-year-old K-pop stars that have to pretend they're single or else their fans won't like them anymore because they're not virginal and great. I kind of feel like I'd rather just have Catwoman be available and attractive for me rather than married to Bruce.
Well, I guess I'm just kind of like,
I was really wondering where
we're going to edit that out.
And I was surprised.
Yeah, well, much in the same way K-pop people are managed and seem single to be I think I'd rather have Catwoman just be available.
It's all smoke and mirrors.
All right, well, anyway, Carmine Falcone's anniversary funeral?
No, before that, I have to make this note because you all know me. I don't want to see the Waynes die one more fucking time in my lifetime. I don't want to see Thomas and Martha Wayne.
I mean, I know you do see that, but I think it's really more. It's more about Falcone going to the funeral and being like, "Your father helped me up, boy," that kind of thing.
Joe, I don't want to see Martha and Thomas Wayne die one more.
Should you ever
goddamn
need a
time in
favor
my
from the
lifetime.
family, I'm here.
If I have to see those goddamn pearls falling on the ground one more fucking time,
I don't want to
swear
see
God.
these people die anymore.
Ever again.
I know they're dead. Well, I guess in Absolute Batman, they're not. But I mean, otherwise, I know they're dead.
Spoilers for
He
Absolute
connects.
Batman. That's brand new. Al.
Yeah, that's brand new. What the fuck? I haven't even read that yet.
Well, it's in like the first.
Oh, you have? Oh, I'm
issue.
sorry.
Yeah.
Batman.
No, I tried to buy it at Oxford and they were sold out of all of it. I was like,
Well,
what?
Patrick, spoiler for that. He went to high school with his entire Rhodes Gallery, isn't a rich man, and his mom is still alive.
Oh.
So
like X-Men Evolution, where they all go to high school together?
Basically, yeah.
Basically, yeah. And he has, for some reason, he has spikes
Move
on
on.
his shoulders for whatever reason. He has an axe. He has an axe in the shape of a bat. I mean, it's just madness. But
So the funeral is basically to set up just like Johnny Vidi's marriage in the first book, Long Halloween. This is really just going like
just to get the family
who's who
together.
of the mafia and be
Yeah,
like,
just
yeah,
to get the
like
mob
this is
together.
who we're going to be talking about.
Selena looks incredible at the
Yeah, and
funeral.
her first line is "It's hot,"
and she's hot. I think I mentioned, but facially, she kind of
but not as hot
looks
as the
very
like,
Morena
Johnny Vitti out there.
Baccarin-esque from like Deadpool.
She
and
does.
Firefly and all that. She looks great.
Oh, and that's Patrick's line. Meow.
Meow.
Who else?
so
Who else
bad.
looks
Selena's
great,
great.
is
Come on.
my giganto mommy Sophia. She looks
Yeah.
great. My large queen.
Sophia
She looks
is
good.
fantastic character in this book. And I feel like we'll talk about her a lot more in the second part, so we should probably maybe, unless she's really in our face, maybe we should just discuss her next. But
What voice do you guys hear when you read her dialogue? Because I don't know why I attach this certain voice, but it kind of, I think, makes your character really camp to me. Sleep well, Papa. Dream the dreams of kings. I hear like a very like
Just
New
a
Yorker,
deep, husky
yeah,
voice.
like deep,
Yeah.
like New Yorker, like.
What did you
accent.
guys watch Venture Brothers? Like Dr. Girlfriend's
Yeah,
voice, where
yeah.
it's just like
That's
a
it.
Yes.
That's Dr. Girlfriend.
raspy
That's it.
kind of masculine voice.
That's what I hear.
the monarch.
I can't remember. I don't know if it's like Doc Hammer or whoever does that voice, but yeah, it's a very kind
All
of
of you
Dr.
are my
Girlfriend
familia
voice
now.
for him.
Together we will make history in Gotham City by restoring
Yeah.
power.
Sleep well, Papa. Dream the dream of
cigarette.
kings.
Anyway, the mafia spots Batman and they start shooting at him, and then suddenly
back
Catwoman's
to-
there. How weird!
Well, back to Batman's, again, just to sales art, like this kind of big splash.
Yeah.
I
Man,
love
there's some
how he
good
draws
ones.
Batman basically almost vampirically. He's got these pointy ears, and he envelopes gravestones and things like that. I mean, he's just a vampiric figure. I just love the imagery.
He's
vampiric,
vampiric,
that
but then
Staley
like
uses.
2 panels after that, Al, like when he's kicking that guy in the face, the roundhouse, like he's also like he goes from being like a vampire to just like a total like professional wrestler,
Just
like
a fucking
brawler.
brick house.
Oh, he is a Mack truck.
There's a
Like,
scene
what is
in
that?
Batman Year One where he's like training in his yard and he kicks a tree in half, and it's always like frozen, and he like karate chops a stack of bricks like a chimney in half, and I'm always like, Jesus Christ! But this Batman, I could imagine doing it. That guy his neck is broken.
He's dead. He's dead.
Oh, 100%, dude. Yeah, 100%. Another point I want to
His
make.
head is at an odd angle.
And this another panel I want to point out because it kind of starts the theme I want to talk about. And again, when we do the Bechtel Test jingle, we can go into more details. I do want to say, regardless of the Bechtel Test results, Tim Sale draws women so sensually in this comic, and I love it. Like this panel right here, where Batman tackles Catwoman to save her from a bullet. It's just such a sensual.
It's the smoky
look
it's
to
the
her.
smoky eyes and
And the way he
lipstick,
draws
the curl lips.
the new DA Potter as well. He
Porter,
draws
yeah.
women and their interaction with their love interests so like physically, sensually. I just
agree,
love it.
but
I
it's
think
like
it's really effective.
it's almost there's a lot of charisma, I guess, in the way that he draws them. It's not just like
right, and the
it
point
doesn't feel like TNA. It doesn't feel like trash.
well,
You know
that's
what I
the
mean? Like
point
it's
I
got
wanted
like an
to
adult
make.
sensuality to it.
Yeah, it doesn't come off as kind of like
It doesn't. It's not cheesy.
exploitative or purely sexual, but it really is a sensual.
I mean, when you read this book, I get the
way to
impression
draw
of like my impression of Catwoman is that like she's a fucking badass that owns her sensuality. Like, and that's and like that's how it comes across. It doesn't feel gross or misused. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the point I wanted to make is he draws them more sensually than explicitly sexually, and that I don't know how to describe it really, but I feel like that comes off in the way he draws a lot of the female characters.
All right, well, let's get to a swimming pool scene.
Well, this is the other point I want to make about Selina. Her not in her Catwoman outfit is a different body than the body that is in the Catwoman suit.
Yeah,
do you remember
her legs are
90s,
way thinner.
If you remember the 90s Spider-Man comic,
some of it, yes, some of it, no.
I mean, sorry, not the comic. The 90s Spider-Man show, Black Cat gets her like super soldier serum, and when she puts the suit on, she buffs up. I feel like that's what Catwoman does. She has like a normal human body, and then she buffs up in her Catwoman costume, kind of like Black Cat.
I think he plays them both down. Like Bruce is slightly less crazy, ripped and shit as Bruce and Batman.
I don't know. He's still enormous.
I'm sorry.
No, he is, and so, but she still fills the role. Like,
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I think for me, it's the legs.
Okay, let's talk about Zeus, Snyder Zeus, whatever. Bruce looks fucking good, man. Bruce looks good.
I mean, he's fucking Batman. You know,
he's definitely
look at that Tom Selleck chest hair.
A run for his money.
Also, his expression here, Patrick, for you, very Warburton.
Very Warburton.
Very Warburton expression right
Look
there.
at the hair on those forearms. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that is a...
I think that's like the hairy chest Batman. I mean, like that's a
look
Neil
at this
Adams
panel
thing
where he's
Ra's
taking
al Ghul.
the towel.
Like, you can just see him fighting Ra's al Ghul with just the cowl on. You know?
Yeah.
Look at him taking the towel. That like he towers over men with his chest hair.
I love how much of a dick he is to. So we're introduced to Mario Falcone, who's
he's
trying
Alberto
to be
and Sophia's brother.
And he's trying to
on the straight and narrow.
bring the family legitimate, like status as business people. I guess I don't know what the fuck. I just love how quickly Bruce is just like, weren't you deported? Just right away, like, get the fuck out of here. Like, Selina's like, I brought you a friend, and he's like, I thought we talked about you dropping in unannounced. Like, he's immediately an asshole, and then she's like, you know what?
Yeah,
keep acting like that, Bruce. No one's gonna come around here ever.
So first of all, the "weren't you deported" is a very I know he votes Republican. I'll just say that.
The billionaire.
The other point I wanted to make is he treats Selina like shit. And she's
he's awful.
And I want to criticize that, but he looks fucking good. Like, I think he gets to be an asshole because when you look like that,
when you
kind of can just be a dick, and you're still gonna.
I think he's treating her like shit because she brought one of the Falcons over to his fucking house.
No, it's because he's an asshole generally. Who does he ever treat with kindness?
Well, that's because he's put up walls since he lost his best friend, Harvey Dent Two-Face.
Okay, whatever, Joe. Bruce is a dick, but I just want to say, with pecs like that, you get to be a dick.
So is the subtext here for like Selina's motivations? Does she believe Mario is really trying to redeem the family name and the fact that she's actually his half sister? Is that like, why did she bring him to?
That's how I read it. I read it as, as being part of the Falcone quote unquote family, kind of as a half sibling. I think she was kind of trying to push Mario as like, he will redeem the family name and be a good representative. I think that's,
and of course she reaches out to Bruce, of course. Which makes sense.
Yeah, and I don't know if I didn't read the When in Rome comic, so I don't know if that goes into that in more detail at all. But
it goes into her. So halfway through this book, as we are well aware, she leaves, and so that's where she goes to like hunt down any evidence that would prove that she is his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And while she's there, she's also looking into like the Sophia recovery stuff. Like how Sophia got fixed. But then I think it's the main, obviously her main purpose is to figure out if she can find a connection between her and Carmine. And I'm 99% sure at the end of this, doesn't she say like, I couldn't find it, and therefore I don't know for sure, but I'm 98% sure.
She couldn't find it. She knows for sure herself, is the impression I got. She just can't prove it to anyone else. Like, that was kind of how I felt, the way she thought about it.
Well, that's what that One in Rome thing is. It's like a 6-issue thing that takes place in the middle of this, basically. Hey, maybe we should read it in between part 1 and 2.
Maybe we should.
Well, actually, I would like to. I've never read it. I'd like to read it.
I've never read it.
At some point.
And from somebody that loves the fuck out of the Long Halloween series and read this one, it actually came out.
The one note I have is just the Arkham escape scene is like amazing. It is peak comic.
Awesome.
It is.
The only reason I have these panels up right now is because I love the panel of fucking Bruce.
Oh yeah, that's fantastic.
Wearing a baseball cap. So I love this comic book idea that Bruce Wayne can just put on a uniform of someone that works at Arkham and a hat and just cover his eyes with a shadow. And
he's undercover.
It's me, Batman. And they're like, oh fuck, it's Batman. And they don't for 1 second see Bruce Wayne.
He's undercover.
Like, he's talking to Alberto Falcone. He knows Bruce Wayne, man. Like, just again, a little bit of shadow, like in the shape of sunglasses, and suddenly, I don't know who that is. Seems
Joe,
like
do you not understand the concept of undercover?
Fucking love it.
They can't tell. No, but the Arkham Escape is next. It is. This issue is like a top all-time issue. The Escape was incredible. I can't even talk about it. It was so good.
Oh yeah. Oh, this is. So for real quick, Gordon talks to Clancy O'Hara. But then he cuts to, and basically he finds he's using Clancy to give him like a list of people within the police that he can trust. So they have like a weird clandestine meeting on a foggy bridge. Then it's that scene that I was talking about where Gordon is like, the bat signal's on. He's like, oh, I wasn't sure you'd come. You're on your own more and more these days. And Batman says nothing. then he's like, Port of the new DA is releasing Alberto Falcone. Like, he's saying shit to Batman like Batman doesn't know. Like, he knows. Why are you talking? He's like, let Janice Porter do whatever she wants. I have my own plans. And he goes, which are? And then it's just more silence. Fucking Batman is just like, it's like Homer Simpson moving back into the bushes. It's fucking insane. It's so funny how he's just like, I can't talk to you right now.
Right, but so they remove Alberto from Arkham because he's kind of being declared innocent. Another point I wanted to make about Sophia. So her nickname, Gigante, like it's literally just means giant in Italian. Like it'd be like if an American woman was nicknamed.
It's her maiden name, isn't it? Or it's her married name?
I think it's her mom's maiden name.
No, okay.
I know, but they call her that because it means giant in Italian.
No, yeah, of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's fitting. It's a fitting coincidence.
Right. Yeah. And I just mean it'd be like if an American girl's nickname was Big Girl.
Big Girl.
Or like Giant. I mean, it's just weird. It's just kind of like, it wouldn't be cool.
I mean, it's a superhero comic book, like Mr. Freeze's name is literally Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze,
I think it's okay.
Let's
name her Sophia Gigante. I think it's fine.
I do want to say, Harvey caused her to fall and wrecked her, and I will never forgive Harvey for that because she is my giant, big queen mommy. And
wait, Harvey didn't do that, did he? I thought it was Catwoman.
Catwoman, yeah.
Oh no, Catwoman. Yeah, Catwoman did shove her. It was Catwoman. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Catwoman.
So that's the thing.
They were arguing about who's the better daughter, right?
Yeah. So anyway, I just can't. As much as I love Selena, I can't forgive her for wrecking my giant mommy queen.
So getting
consigning her to a.
So basically what happens is Two-Face, sets off a plan to like break a shitload of the people out of Arkham so he can use them throughout the rest of the series. And Harvey doesn't even know. So like when he's talking to Batman, he's just like, hey, what's going on? Blah, blah, blah. Kind of thing. And I love how Batman's like, oh shit, gunfire. And he's like, you have to promise that no matter what happens, you won't try to escape. And Harvey's like, I promise. And he's like, bolt that door. No one gets in or out. And he's like, you don't have to bolt the door. And like, before he can even say anything, Two-Face is like, Harvey, you're an idiot. And flips the coin. And you're just like, I was like, God damn, I love, like, they do Two-Face so well in these.
I love Two-Face.
Yeah.
It's so good. Yeah.
He's very.
You're
you're
an idiot, Harvey. Flips the coin, and then of course he escapes in this scene.
Well, so let's a second before we get to the breakout. I do like that. So Catwoman and Batman meet on rooftops, and I do like that Catwoman sneaks up on Batman, like he sneaks up on other people, like he doesn't notice her till she's there. So that was cool.
Yeah, she says around, and he's like, "How long have you been there?"
Yeah, and then going back to that idea of again how Sale draws that so sensually.
Yes,
that panel
with her tail literally wrapped around him, and she's kind of like squeezing her boobs.
We mentioned that in the Long Halloween, but I love how her tail kind of becomes real, like a real cat tail, even though it makes no fucking sense at all. Like,
it makes no sense. But even her, I love that panel because she looks like her facial expression, like the mischievousness that's being like.
Maybe she looks like a cat with her ass and the tail flipped around him.
Yeah, no, she looks like a cat that is wrapping itself around your leg.
Yeah,
and it's just a super cat-like physical, sensual way to represent it. It's incredible.
I love it. She goes, "Your friend Harvey Dent, he's in danger. The Falcones intend to have him murdered in Arkham." And he's like, "He's not my friend any longer." And she slaps him, and he looks at her, and then she slaps him again, and she's like, "Isn't there anything left inside of you?" And then she goes to do it again. And he's like, "That's enough." And I'm just funny. I fucking God damn, it's so good, man.
I think that's hilarious though, because she slaps him open-handed twice, and he doesn't do anything like a badass. And then when she goes with the claws towards his face,
he's like,
he grabs her. He's like, "Well, let's watch the face, though."
Yeah.
I have to pretend Bruce Wayne isn't Batman. You can't cut my face.
All right, and now let's get to Arkham. But Harvey. First of all, I love how Tim Sale draws the fucked up part of Harvey.
Oh, it's so gross.
Because it's like literally rotting. I don't know how to describe it. It's just
there's like little shit hanging off of it and stuff. And the same thing with Alberto's hand.
Yeah, there's like hairs and shit coming up. It's incredible. It's so good.
Gross. It looks like there's literally like decaying flesh like peeling off of his.
Yeah, it's done so well. He's just literally half a monster. It's so well done.
Batman takes out most of the villains really fast, which I love. But then later on, they're like out. And I'm like, I don't understand. Did he not like beat the shit out of them in 5 seconds and move on to try to stop what was happening?
I think he makes a comment later on saying that he thought he stopped more. Like it was a more coordinated effort to get certain people out. Because he made at least with Solomon Grundy, he's like, I thought I stopped Solomon Grundy, but even he escaped. So.
Gotcha.
Because
Hatter's out later, for instance.
Yeah, but no, I think it's intimated that later. It's pretty clearly said that like this was all planned and people got out. I think the idea that he just wrapped people in ropes and left, then they just were
and I love how
anyway.
Again, being Alberto and what's going on, like he goes there first, probably before he should have gone to Harvey, and then like Alberto's the one that's just like, why would I run? I'm innocent, but. Like kind of thing. And I'm like, fucking love that.
Well, yeah, I love that because the whole time he's assuming it's a Falcone plot to get Alberto out. And then, Alberto's just like, I'm innocent. This isn't me. I'm fine. It's just, I don't know how to, again, I know I can't speak about it because I'm so excited. This was peak comic for me. This issue was just beautiful.
So good, man.
It's incredible.
I said, it's not like our podcast has any shortness of praise for Long Halloween, but this is like, you couldn't ask for more in a sequel. Like it holds up so well.
Yeah, and this first issue with the Arkham escape to just set the conflict and set the big event up. It's crazy. It's incredible.
And the next scene with fucking Sophia when she's just like, I can't even go to the bathroom on my own anymore, and like straight like because Batman visits her and he's like basically like, where the fuck is Harvey? And she's like, I don't know. I hope he's dead. And he's like, if you have anything to fucking do with this, I will take your life apart. Everything you have left. And she's like, I don't have anything left. I'm like, God damn.
Yeah, she removes her wig to show the stitches on her
spoilers
skull.
For the end. But if they didn't more clearly reveal her motivation in this moment, I don't know how you could, kind of thing. Like it's amazing.
And I guess for listeners who can't, well, first of all, hopefully you've read it and aren't just listening to this, but she also has like a head.
Silver head
brace and a full brace. She
like
rips her wig off and reveals scars on her skull. She's just been physically destroyed by Harvey and Catwoman.
In a wheelchair, of course. Obviously.
Yeah. So that's a great moment. And then we do see Alberto kind of be released.
Alberto is
from
released,
prisons.
and then the grave of Carmine Falcone is, desecrated, and then a finger is sent to Sophia, and then we get our first murder. Oh, and also Harvey Dent's, Janice Porter's office, which was once Harvey Dent's, is broken into, and all of Harvey Dent's case files are stolen, which is a huge piece because, like, without that happening right away, everybody that dies hereafter, you could be like, well, clearly it's Two-Face, or clearly it's this person. But with whoever the killer is having those files, it leaves the mystery open to be like, well, it could be any number of these people.
Right. Blah, blah, blah. And then we also set up, so again, this is kind of a sequelitis thing, but just like the Long Halloween had the calendar killer, Holiday, who had a trademark of I kill people on a holiday. But in issue 1, they're setting up the hangman, quote unquote, killer, and it's someone who hangs the victim and then leaves the hangman game like Clue. Is the sort of conceit we're going to deal with episodically. Another moment. I know I'm going to. Oh no!
Go ahead.
Well, just one quick thing, and then I'll stop because I know I'm being a creep about it. But also Porter here again. It's just the way Tim draws her. It's again very sensual, like a film noir, like a femme fatale.
That's like a sexy librarian, like kind of like the purple stockings, kind of like
I just think he really
high heels combo.
Yeah, and again, we'll talk about it in a Bechdel test.
I know what you're talking
later, but he does draw, the main character women in this just very in control of their sensuality and like exposing their sensuality full force in all this.
And again, knowing what she knows now, her reaction and like how she's acting with Jim Gordon right here of like, they took everything, Jim. It's out, every last bit of it. And he's like, every last bit of what? All of Harvey Dent's files. And you're just like, she looks genuinely upset and worried and like,
well, because she is.
Like, God damn, you're a fucking psycho. Like, like, you know what I mean? And knowing like what you know, I'm like, you're a good actor or you're fucking crazy. And I'm gonna go with crazy because she loves Two-Face, so that's really weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, all I was gonna say is I love this. There's a couple other death scenes that are extremely foggy later as well, but like. One of the things with Long Halloween and holiday murders is that it would shift to black and white, and then like the murder would happen, and there would only be something in color, like usually like whatever object they were leaving behind, like an orange pumpkin or whatever. But like this is just, I love this foggy bridge death scene for some reason, and they do it later, but not often. But I guess, I mean, the gray, like everything that's black is just a dark gray. I just love the way it's drawn.
Yeah. And the guy who's killed is a policeman. He's kind of an old-timey
Clancy O'Hara
policeman. Clancy O'Hara.
Have you ever been to Ireland?
And we were left with a hangman clue that says like N blank N-E. Well, I won't read it out, but it's a hangman clue where some of the letters are filled in, and it's typical police procedural. Like here's a hint.
The clue is none of you are safe, but as we find out, that's not.
Is it? It's not none of you. Wrong vowel there, but yeah. Issue 2. Oh, first of all, another quick, just general note. I love the Riddler in these. He's so great.
Yeah. I know. Oh my God. So there's not a lot of villains that they don't handle well, I guess. And especially when it's a book like this, where like every month is a different villain, like showcase, so to speak. Like, man, has anybody ever done it as well as this? I don't think so. Like,
the only other, so I loved Riddler in the
like Scarecrow's scary, like like even what's his name that we were just talking about, Mad Hatter. I'm like, that crazy little lunatic. I love them together too. Like, I love it. Like, they paired them up, and it was like, it's like makes so much sense.
Well, but I think a lot of it is they followed through with, again. Well, nobody did villains better than the '90s animated series, because that put villains basically.
But this plays off that a lot, I feel.
Well, but that's the point I'm trying to make. Is this really feels like a continuation of, they still treat villains as basically ensemble cast members, like almost as protagonists. You get a lot about their motivations, their history, their personality quirks, and Loeb really follows the animated series style of like, they're not just a villain of the week. Riddler has his own personality, which is quirky and endearing. Mr. Freeze has his whole tragic origin. It's just all of that comes through in this, but I love Riddler. He's just so great in this comic. But Batman immediately kind of conscripts Riddler because, again, you get the Hangman. Obviously, the Hangman game is a sort of riddle where you have to come up with letters to make a phrase. So Batman goes right to, I'm going to attack the Riddler and beat him up and have him.
Well, so he's doing. I mean, answer my question. Yes, that's true. But I feel like he's doing it for two reasons. He wants Riddler to help him. Number one. Number two, like Riddler was like one of the main. I think if I'm not mistaken, he was the April Fool's death last year.
Yeah, he was the only one to survive a holiday kill.
So there was that, so there's so that part of it, like I think there's like some aspects of it where he's like, well, my first stop is Riddler, the guy that survived, and I'm gonna see if he can fucking help me figure this out real fast versus like taking a year to figure this out kind of thing.
I like the kind of subtext to this because I'm so used to Batman being the smartest guy in the room and being able to figure out all this stuff by himself, and the fact that he's conscripting the Riddler because he knows the Riddler thinks in a different way than
he thinks in riddles and that
he's like, I'm out of my depth here and I actually need this guy's help to figure out what the fuck is going on.
Well, a quick art note, 2 panels early in this issue, just to show how Sale draws Batman. One is just the physicality in full show of it. He just looks like a 7-foot tall bodybuilder.
You know what's funny is the absolute Batman is drawn a lot like that, and like people are like, "Look how gigantic is he? It's ridiculous." I'm like, he's been drawn like that before. It's not that crazy,
but the way he draws, just his imposing, almost scary physicality there, and then the next panel I wanted to show is going back to that sort of Nosferatu vampiric pose he has going
Batman's
with his
the way he draws
flowing.
Yes, the cape, it changes lengths like panel to panel, which I actually enjoyed. Kind of like Catwoman's tail, how it's almost like a real cat tail, but the cape itself is almost like
the cape has its own character.
Like its
own.
Well,
but that's what I like about Tim Sale's art in this is it's almost Patrick, I know you've seen this, but the animated show Ping Pong, which, you know how in Ping Pong, it's very not literal. It's a very figurative animation that shows kind of thematic context as literally animated and going on. And I like how Tim Sale does that. Like Catwoman's tail, Batman's cape. These are almost creatures that have their own dimension and purpose and weight in the world. And I just like how he brings that into kind of like literally displayed almost the thematic figurative content these objects have.
I think the thing that makes that work so well is that it's juxtaposed with like all the dudes in suits, like Commissioner Gordon and the mafia guys. Like Riddler's like a halfway in between. Like he's wearing a suit, but he's also like a gangly cartoon character. He's like, whoa, and like his limbs are flying all over the place. But
I mean, literally look at how thin his ankle is. Like look at the ankle of Riddler compared to Batman's forearm. Like look at his calf compared to Batman's forearm. Like it's
Riddler's wearing, what was that guy that had
you could fit 5 Riddlers inside Batman's body.
What was the dude that had the book to tell you how to make money from the government and he had the green dollar sign suit?
Oh yeah.
Oh god.
But that's the Riddler suit, but it's a question mark.
Every time he wore those suits, I was like, is that guy trying to be the Riddler?
What was that?
I don't know. Some late night infomercial guy that was trying to get you to buy his book of all the deals.
So first of all, it was a legitimate Matthew Lesko. It was the free money guy, Matthew Lesko. But he had $1. He had a green dollar suit, and the Riddler's got a green question mark.
He had a rainbow of colors of suits. I don't know.
I thought it was green.
I mean, one of them was.
Anyway, it was Matthew Lesko, the free money guy. Y'all know.
Yeah, anyway. Old commissioner stops by the new.
He did. He had a white and a blue and a yellow. He had lots of different colors. You're right, Joe. I just remembered the green, but he's got lots of different colors. He's kind of the Riddler, but for taking money from the government.
So the next few cops that die in the next couple of issues, because that's the twist in this one. It's not mafia people that are dying. It's cops. But a lot of them are shitbags from Batman Year One.
Hey,
like pieces of shit.
Hey, it's just a few bad apples, bro.
But they all have a connection to Harvey Dent's case files. So as the mystery unfolds, they're like, "Oh, is it someone that's directly connected to Harvey, and it's Harvey again as the reader, or is it like?" And that's kind of what Batman and Gordon are thinking, also, or is it they have Harvey's case files, so therefore they're framing Harvey, kind of thing? I don't know. I love how they're doing that, but also bringing all these pieces of garbage back from Batman Year One and like murdering them one by one. I love.
I had no idea that they were from Batman Year One.
Yeah, this is the commissioner from Batman Year One when Gordon was the lieutenant, back then, and then like I think the next couple of guys to die, like one of them's in charge of the SWAT team that chases Batman into that building, and he uses the bats as like to get away. Do you remember that?
Okay. Well, I remember from Batman Begins. I've never read Year One.
Oh, but, yeah. Very similar actually. And then they basically stole that scene directly from them. And then
so the Nolan trilogy borrows heavily from Year One, but also just the Long Halloween and Dark Victory. So much of this is in the Nolan movies.
And then Vlass is like a cop that was like Gordon's partner, and very early in Year One, Gordon's like, oh fuck, he's corrupt as shit, and like Vlass is like, you want to take some of this money? Like he's like, he gets protection money from somebody basically, like on the street, and he's like, hey, you want some of this? And he's like, I don't know. And he's like, if you don't take it, then like basically I'm not going to trust you, and like we're gonna fucking work you over, kind of thing. But there's a lot of pieces of shit corrupt cops in Year One, and they all die in this. It's great.
Yeah, I did want to call out in this issue, I liked the talk sort of right after this that Alfred and Batman have.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good, just kind of like heart to heart between the two of them. Also, back to Tim Sale, when he takes his cowl off, Bruce's expression is so, you just see the kind of
very
defeat and sadness in his expression there. And this is the part I think Patrick mentioned earlier, where Batman reveals that, he was very close to revealing to Harvey Dent who he was.
I really liked it because you just rarely see Batman with this like kind of level of
kind of emotion.
Or just like vulnerability and regret and
It also makes it, I don't know how to phrase this other than, is there a good reason to bring a tiny child into your war on crime? No. But like it makes it make more sense, sort of.
Nope.
It does.
Never makes sense to make a 12-year-old fight crime in the street.
He didn't make him. He tries to stop him.
Could have tried harder to stop him. I think
switching gears a little bit
harder. I feel like he could have tried much harder.
I think if you suspend reality, unlike Al's doing, and you go with the idea that this kid would have run off on his own and done something stupid and gotten murdered or killed, and what he's doing is protecting him from that, but also by making him know what he's doing and training him, I think I like that idea. And
maybe he would have gone to school and gotten a degree and been okay.
I don't know.
We'll never know.
I guess we'll never know, because
in a world that has a Batman where that kid grew up to be Batman, I think it's not crazy for him to be like, you're just like me. This is what's going to happen.
Well, obviously he's just like you, because you set the same parameters by which you became Batman to surround this little child and like passive aggressively conscripted him into your army.
All right, again, you're bringing reality into it. And if you don't suspend
it's
belief...
not this is what he does. He legit manipulates this child. Everybody knows if you want a kid to do something, the best way to do it is say, hey, don't do that, buddy. I'm going to go to the other room. What you do is you say, this is prohibited. I'm going to be absent. And the
Robin's not even in this hat.
What you told
Get out of
him
here.
To do.
So argue about this next week.
This is psychology 101. Like Batman manipulates this child into becoming his little crime-fighting sidekick.
Sure.
From the get-go. And I don't
just been another
condone
Batman.
I don't condone that.
Switching gears.
In real life, I wouldn't. In a comic book, I'm fine with it.
I condone it neither in real life nor in a comic book.
Switching gears, I did enjoy one of the aspects of this book I enjoyed was the slow development of Porter and Gordon's friendship but was it a friendship? But this is kind of where it starts taking a turn, because they've been adversarial for the most part. And after we shift from Batman's touching scene with Alfred about not telling Harvey who he was, Gordon and Porter have been called out by Mario Alberto to go look at the dad's grave has been grave robbed. So Carmine's body's missing. And
Sophia got a finger as the message.
Yes. And I liked it because Commissioner Gordon's pissed and he says, I don't appreciate being summoned out here in the dead of night, Falcone. And then Porter says, I have to agree with Jim on this one, Mario. The district attorney's office isn't some all-night gas station that you can just pull into and use.
Yeah.
And that was kind of when you start seeing more of a camaraderie between the two of them. And I don't think there's any kind of resolution to it, though. I don't remember in the second part if, like, is she being genuinely friends with Commissioner Gordon here, or is this more part of just her manipulation?
Yeah, I mean, we don't ever get a real answer.
Well, yeah. I think the answer to that question is she's written as a nuanced human being. So, like, is part of it real? Sure, probably.
Yeah,
you know, but ultimately she's there to enact Two-Face's plans. You know what I mean?
So if I had to really guess, I'd say Loeb's point in all this was because this is all happening before the reveal that Porter was working for Harvey anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was Loeb just planting the seed, because there's a section later later Gordon kind of reconciles with his wife, but while he's on the outs with his wife, there's a few interactions with Porter that are a little bit kind of like, is there something here? Will they?
It happens in the next page from what I'm just talking about.
But so I think that's Loeb just.
Well, that's a part of it. He's like, "What are your Thanksgiving plans?" or something like that. And she's like, "I have plans," and he's like, "Oh, I just thought you might not because you just moved here," kind of thing. And she's like, "I'm having sex with Two-Face. Leave me alone."
Well, she didn't say that, but we get. But I think Loeb's point here is just to kind of plant seeds of, you just don't know what Porter's game is. Like, is she into Gordon or not, or is she doing something else?
I don't think she's
confused the reader.
She's not into Gordon at all.
Obviously she's not. But
for me, I was more shocked that Gordon, who's been crying about not being with his wife, is like, "Hey, my coworker, do you?"
I don't know. I think.
Have you met a man before? This is how straight men act.
I didn't read that way. I read it as like maybe he's trying to extend the olive branch in the sense of like friendship, like he had with Harvey. I don't necessarily think he was.
I think there was.
I don't know. It's hard to.
Sexual undertone.
Not in this scene, is what I'm saying. Not yet. Right here,
I think there was in this.
Just going like, hey, do you want to? You're all by yourself. I'm all by myself.
I don't know.
So I'm with Patrick. I read this as, I don't know if either of you have.
He doesn't really bring it up in that way, though. Like, they're not.
But Porter, you want to spend Thanksgiving together.
It's more, and it's more. Porter's reaction is so adversarial, being like, "I take back everything. I just like every nice thing I just said about you. Like, I'm done with the conversation. Don't ask me again." And the way he says coconuts, like, I don't know. It made me think less of Jim Gordon, I guess is what I'm saying. The way I read it
goes, I know this is out of the blue, but do you want to have Thanksgiving dinner together? Maybe get started off on a new foot. I don't think
that's that. But again, Joe,
like let's
Joe,
not
you
be
can't.
enemies.
But again, okay, if you want to talk about it professionally, he's an older man. Like, basically, this is what like power harassment in the workplace is.
Yeah,
is this kind of shit.
I guess my take is that if he was still with Barbara, his wife, and he was like, "Why don't you come over and have Thanksgiving dinner with me and my family?"
But that's not the case. He is currently single, and he's inviting her to have dinner together with him.
He's very much obsessed with getting his family back together.
No, Barbara's out of town. She's not there for Thanksgiving. It would be Jordan. It would be Gordon and Porter alone, Joe.
I just I give people the benefit of the doubt.
I don't. Joe, I don't know if you've ever met a man, but they power harass.
I think so. I think the context for this scene for me was Porter saying, well, Gordon says, "I didn't think you'd have plans because you're new," and Porter is very blunt. She says, "Well, I do. Can we go now? It's cold." Like, it was basically like, you need to back the fuck up, buddy, because this is not okay.
That there you go. You sold me now. Good job.
It was more her reaction to it than his, and then the way he says coconuts after, it was almost like, darn, I almost had her, but didn't work.
Oh, really? I thought he was saying, "Oh, she is crazy."
Oh, I don't know.
I'm just gonna say, regardless of intent, it's
or maybe like she's flip-flopping on him, and he's like, "I can't read you. I don't understand."
Regardless of intent, it's inappropriate for Jim Gordon to invite her to have a one-on-one Thanksgiving dinner.
Appropriate now.
Yeah, 100%. Just be alone, Jim. Come on, Jim. And then we get introduced to Alberto freaking out to voices.
we said over
which we later find out
house.
is that devious queen, the calendar man.
Yeah. I do like the scene with Bruce and Alfred and Catwoman on Thanksgiving, and he's like, "Do you guys need anything?" And she's like, "I think we got it, old man."
Yeah.
Oh, we do see Porter alone. We get the first hint that something's going on because she's.
Oh yeah, she's not alone. She did meet with somebody, and they came in late, and like they just started making out, and you don't know who it is, but we all know.
We embraced by a shadow figure. Again, everything very sensual, very beautiful. I'm going to stop talking about that because I know it's creepy by this point. This is the very Batman '89 dinner.
Oh yeah,
with Selena and Bruce at two ends of a large table.
Kind of thing. Yeah, it's hilarious.
Very Batman '89 dinner setup.
It's one of my favorite scenes in that movie.
And again, Selena has a different physical body than she does as Catwoman. I mean, her arms are this thin. She's just a different human being than she is as Catwoman.
I don't think so. I think you're exaggerating.
I do like I can't talk enough about Tim Sale. The way he draws her dragging the chair across.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
See the drag mark.
Yeah.
How she brings the chair to be near Bruce.
Yeah, because Tim Sale, I mean, like, he has a little bit of like speed lines, they would call it in the comic book industry. Like, there's some motion lines going on, but like not too excessively. Most of it is like a moment frozen in time, and things are shattering to indicate movement and stuff like that. But like, that's a little subtle thing that I'm like, I love that because like it just shows the spot where she dragged the chair from, but like it indicates what she's doing. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I love this whole exchange.
Clever choice.
So she pulls the chair up and just says, "Remember me." It's like very witty, like a cool little thing. And then as together
she's still trying at this point. Like he hasn't let her down. I think it's after New Year's where she's like, "Fuck, man, come on."
The other thing too I love is as they're together eating.
Yeah.
He's just living in this museum.
Cold statue.
Yeah, just this museum of his family's past with all these, his family which is famously dead. It's just the wall is plastered with images of his past, and he just cannot divorce himself from that tragedy. I just like Tim Sale, rest in power, man. Like,
yeah, dude,
he just is doing God's work on this book. It's incredible.
So anyway, Batman meets with Riddler on the rooftop to see what he figured out, and he basically goes, "It's a riddle," and he's like, "Yeah, I know," kind of thing. He doesn't really help him at all. I feel like.
Well, I think he helps him, but I don't know if there's any payoff to it.
I think the only thing he says here that's a genuine clue is like he says something like, "You can't play hangman by yourself. Like there has to be somebody else involved," kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, "That's."
I love
like,
that.
Whoever this is isn't doing it alone, kind of thing.
Like, I love that kind of reveal. Yeah, Riddler. Also, I love the panel of him with his arms out.
Yes.
It's just a very like free, and then the close up of him cry. It's just so Riddler. I don't know how to describe it. It's so Riddler. I love Sales the way he draws him.
Anyway, Commissioner Loeb is dead, guys.
Oh no.
And this was the corrupt ex-commissioner that we mentioned earlier that was visiting with.
Yeah, and so again, the fucking red herrings. So the clue here is two can play this game, and with obviously the letters missing. And Riddler even brought up like, do the letters that have been crossed out mean something? And you're like, fuck, do they? Goddamn! Like as a reader trying to figure it out, you're like, son of a bitch, how in depth is this? Yeah. And then also like the fact that Riddler just said like, it takes two people to play hangman, and the original Holiday Killer wasn't just one person. And then you're like, is this two people also? And then like the next is as in like, is this person being hung, not the person who did the first one, and they're just playing along with it? Anyway, or is it two people that are in on it together, like playing back and forth? It's just so much is going on already, and you're just like, son of a bitch.
So issue 3 is Christmas, right?
Yes. Scarecrow Christmas.
Scarecrow Christmas.
One of the things
room.
I
cheetah room.
It bounces around a bit. I did find myself, especially this issue, I was like, how did we get to the Scarecrow? We starts off at a strip club and then goes from the strip club to Zuko, and then from Zuko to the Scarecrow. I was like, I don't really know how we're getting here, but
Writing wise, you need to have a villain. So yeah, Flass is Gordon's partner.
And he had bouncer at a strip club,
and he's now a bouncer at a strip club. Like he had fallen from grace as a police officer.
And he's murdered, and so Batman goes after Zuko because
I do just want to make the comment that I think being a cop is worse than being a bouncer at a strip club. To me, it's an improvement because cops ACAB, right?
I mean, he'd fallen from grace as a police officer.
I think he fell into grace as not being a cop.
I guarantee there's not a cop alive that would say they agree with you.
Well, because cops are terrible.
That's what I'm saying.
And they're awful.
So in his eyes,
I'm kidding. It's just a few bad apples. Most cops are great and really care about you. But the Cheetah Room, another art. I know all I've been making is art notes, but I just love Tim Sale.
This fucking
when Batman
page is amazing.
Well, yeah, but also I just wanted to call out when
Batman's in the background, all the way up in the back right left corner, like just
Jesus Christ, out. I didn't even see that.
He's there the whole time, like he's there.
Yeah, he's there.
It's fantastic.
But then when he's quote unquote interrogating,
like
when he's interrogating the Cheetah Room guy, I just love how Tim takes us on this. Like, look at the bullets. Look at the journey the bullets goes on. Batman's holding them, sets them down. He then slams the dude's face and they're in the air. Like the way he uses the bullets to kind of describe the action. And Batman is just this unopposable force. He just, again, I don't know what else to say. It's just incredible. It's so well done.
I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's incredible.
He basically is like, having a cop, even an ex-cop, turn up dead on your doorstep means you've got a problem. And then he's like, I don't have nothing to do with it, I swear. And then he like goes click kind of thing under the table. And he's like, now you have a problem with me. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, you're just like, Jesus Christ, he's going to kill you. You know how hard you'd have to push a man's skull down onto a desk to have blood start pouring out of his nose?
Again, Batman is a battering ram.
Is he cracking his skull right now?
Yes, he's the Mack truck.
Holy shit.
Extrajudicial justice coming your way. But I just love how Tim Sale draws like bullets and fingers set on the table, just in the air, slam. It's done so well.
So Zuko points in the direction of Scarecrow, but I don't remember what. Oh, something about transportation or something like that.
Yeah, I was having a hard time following the through line of how we got from the strip club to Zuko to the Scarecrow, because it implies that the Scarecrow killed the guy that was the bouncer at the strip club, but we know that's not the case, so I don't really know how we got here, but here we are.
No, he said I was supposed to meet a guy in that alley.
Yeah, the Scarecrow thing is unrelated to the Hangman killing. He just said I was going to do this thing that involved the Scarecrow, and unrelated to that, the guy was dead.
That guy was dead in the alley, so obviously we left. But then I guess to Patty's point, the implication is that maybe Scarecrow murdered that guy, murdered Flash.
Yeah. No, well, I think it was just Batman's like, well, now that I know that this is happening, let me go look at the Scarecrow.
Oh yeah, maybe. Well, no, I mean the first thing out of Batman's mouth is like, what happened to Detective Flash? As in, like, I don't think he thinks he did it. I think he sees maybe Scarecrow as a possible witness to get to who the Hangman is.
Oh, I think, Joe, I think that's it. Because the guy mentioned
he's like, if Scarecrow was there, I need to go talk to that guy. Yeah.
That clicks. I mean, again, it's pretty contrived, but that's what's
more
happening.
Subtle. Yeah. I mean, if you're not paying attention to every line, it's kind of what we were saying at the top of this episode. If you're not paying attention to like almost every line of dialogue, it seems that there's a lot of dialogue that has a lot more weight, and if you miss something, like you're like, it immediately the plot starts to dissipate in front of your eyes.
Yeah, but that's true. But I do think in this case, it's just a pretty contrived, like, well, I was going to meet Scarecrow in the alley where this dude died. And so Batman's like, okay, well, maybe Scarecrow killed him. I'll go talk. But I mean, it's not a very, it's just, that's the connection. It's just a contrived thing.
One thing about Scarecrow, I do love his commitment to rhyming, because he escapes in the truck. He escapes in the truck and he says, the cat and the fiddle, the cow. And then Batman chokes him and he goes, ah. And then he goes, jumped over the moon. he had to finish the rhyme while Batman was literally strangling him.
That's my favorite part.
I like how he's strangling him with his own noose too.
And in Long Halloween, they pair Mad Hatter and Scarecrow up, and I think more than once. But like but basically, like the way they bicker with each other, but they're bickering through nursery rhyme, and it's like fucking insane to read, and it's really hilarious. Like I have no idea why they're like, hey, let's make them talk only in nursery rhyme, because that's never been a Scarecrow thing before. I guess it's sort of a Mad Hatter thing, but like, I mean, it's his motif, I guess, to a child's story. But like, I don't. Really, really funny how they were like, let's go this way with these weirdos. Like, I love it. We've got Sophia. There's a little bit of mafia stuff going on here. Like, Sophia's concerned about like what's going on. Like Zuko, like somebody died.
Yeah, I'll say. I mean, I will say for the listeners, we're not going to go into super detail on all of the plot stuff.
It's just like there's more going on here.
Yeah, but this whole book has a kind of a mafia film undertone. There's a lot of just mafia politics happening that we're kind of going to gloss over because, again, our main interest is Batman and Two-Face and his actual rogues gallery. But we do get to see like the Falcones and the Zucos and the Chicago families. Just all that stuff is happening.
And meanwhile, Selina's waiting at home for Bruce. So issue of 3 basically wraps up with like Selina's left alone on Christmas because Batman's busy intimidating Alberto Falcone. He basically takes Alberto out into the snow to test the ankle bracelet he has on for the cops to arrive if he leaves the house, because he wants to make sure that Holiday that
Alberto hasn't been doing the killings.
But then meanwhile we get another little glimpse of like Alberto's getting spoken to by who he thinks is his dead father.
Also, Selina just leaving that woman alone is criminal. I don't know how he does it. I don't know how Batman does it.
He's committed to the...
She's wearing the smallest, I guess, nightgown imaginable.
No, it's like a slip. She's wearing like a slip or something.
Yeah, like a little nightgown thing. Yeah, like a little tiny little, Anyway,
also,
but like,
Alfred is there. I guess Alfred just gets to see that.
He's just asexual.
Experience that. It's weird.
And she's just draped in a fur with like, I'm like, God.
Yeah, I mean, she's just dressed in like "come fuck me" clothes, and Alfred just is hanging about.
Important.
Yeah, he's just hanging about.
All right. Well,
but I guess someone's got to serve her. Someone's got to serve her drinks. So I guess he's doing that.
Yeah, he's got it. Like what else is it?
I do like the last panel, and we also get a little bit more Porter Gordon awkward interaction. But I do like the last panel here with Alberto because it's almost like Two-Face, like how it splits his face with the shadow.
Oh yeah,
and I thought that was an interesting choice there, visually. But you hear kind of that voice that Alberto's been hearing, that he thinks is his dad. But we don't know yet who it is.
So, I mean, like, as the mystery unfolds, like, Batman's immediately uses the Riddler to help, and it kind of helps him. And then he eliminates Alberto as a suspect forcibly. And then the very next issue, he's been baiting Solomon Grundy this entire time to find Two-Face, and it worked. Or kind of. But that's, I mean, he's doing a better job this time around, kind of thing. And he's still, he met with Sophia really early. It was like, it better not fucking be you or I'm going to fucking rip you apart, kind of thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, he's doing a decent job of like eliminating suspects, so to speak. I think.
Well, except that he eliminates the Hangman Killer.
She's hiding in plain sight in her wheelchair and fake neck brace out.
Yeah, I get, but it's like great detective work, buddy. You confirmed that the killer.
Yeah, if he had manhandled her the way he does Alberto, he probably would have figured it out pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, well, we've already discussed that this is a vulnerable, not genius Batman, and he's not a genius for sure.
Well, I think that's I guess we'll get to it, but Alfred kind of makes the point that he's run himself ragged to the point where his brain is burning out.
He's not even like, you didn't even.
Yeah, he's just not even thinking straight, right? He's just fried all the time. This is another one. It kind of mirrors how in the Long Halloween there was kind of a touching Solomon Grundy episode where he didn't fight him, but he brought him Thanksgiving dinner or whatever it was. Yeah. And this is similar to where he's not really there to fight Grundy. He's just kind of needs him to guide him through the sewers. So I just like that idea of like he just isn't there to beat up Grundy. He's just
I love that he knows how to like
to manage. He kind of knows how to manage
him.
Grundy.
Yeah, it's not like he's being his friend per se, but he's also not being horrible and mean to him either.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
he's Bruce is only horrible.
I understand you have this fucked up existence, and I'm not here to fuck that up. I just need help. like kind of thing, like kind of. And I'm like, all right.
Yeah. No, it works because Bruce is really only terrible to women, but to men like Grundy,
and small boys,
he can treat them. And small boys. Well, he's pretty terrible to small boys, but in a more devious way. But yeah, he just kind of has Grundy lead him through the sewers.
Yeah. Oh, while he's down there, though, there is there's the shadow on the wall, and he's like, Harvey, and he he thinks, and it is Harvey, but he thinks it's either Harvey or like the Hangman or whatever.
And we get a sister interaction when Catwoman. First of all, look at that ass shot. Oh my God! Edit this out. Oh my God! Edit that out, please. Catwoman just looks great, but we're gonna edit that out. But she confronts Gigante, which again we've talked about isn't really a great nickname for a girl.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. Well, also the person that died this issue is a guy named Brandon, and he was the dude. That's the guy I was talking about before. He was like in charge of the SWAT team kind of thing that like went in and attacked Batman when they had him trapped in that building. If I'm not mistaken, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, but Catwoman.
Sure that's right though.
But Catwoman makes an offer to Sophia that basically, if you pay me $1 million, I'll find your dad's corpse. Basically, but also it's Selina's dad, so it's kind of a self-serving thing, but also we'll get $1 million.
Yeah, and she's like, "How do I know you didn't just take the body?" And he's like, "You don't."
Also, like the most direct sexual innuendo when Harvey pulls Porter aside and says, "You're all wet. Now I'm all wet." No, she tells him because he comes out of the rain and she says, "You're all wet." And then she says, "Now I'm all wet."
Sewer. I like how she goes, "You're all wet," and I'm like, "And smells like shit."
Where's
the other adjective there?
But she says, "Now I'm all wet." Too, which is it's
I'm very attracted to raw sewage. I think it's wildly.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's our natural state. The unbathed person. But so that's pretty. It's pretty R-rated sex talk right there.
Selina and Bruce officially kind of break up, but not really quite yet. I don't know.
Yeah, sort of. I mean. Yeah,
Bruce's behavior is very Mr. Big from Sex and the City, and I appreciate that Selina is not a Carrie Bradshaw, and she's like, "Get the fuck out of here."
Isn't Mr. Big the person she marries and loves until he dies?
I mean, yes, but that's Carrie Bradshaw. Like, she's no Selina Kyle. Selena's like, "You left me by myself on Thanksgiving and on Christmas and on New Year's. Like, we're done." Where Carrie's like, "Okay, you married some other woman." New Year's
morning, and he's like, "Did you have a happy New Year's Eve?" And she's like, "What's in the bag?" And he goes, "I don't know. Alfred made some muffins or something." Like, it's fucking great.
It is great how his gift is just like, I don't know, my butler made me bring it.
She goes, "Last night I decided we were over," and he's like, "Did you? I'll leave then." She's like, "No, god damn it, at least come in for breakfast." But like and Alfred's outside like, "Well done, Master Bruce."
Well, because they fuck. I mean, they fuck after breakfast. I mean.
Well, yeah, of course. But at the same time, when she does actually leave, he's still surprised. And I'm like, what's wrong with you, dude?
I mean, he's a giant crime-fighting man who isn't really equipped to deal with emotional relationships.
Anyway, we get a little tidbit of Gordon talking to Barbara. So she came to the phone this time, and he's asking her to come back. And I think this is like kind of like the red herring part for Porter. Because she seems like she's genuinely like, I don't know, kind of has actual human emotion and feelings when he's upset. And she's like, "Oh shit, should I walk away?" And then he's like, "I know you're there, come on in," kind of thing. And
well, because I think at this time, but again, Loeb is still playing with that idea of we don't know who, because like this scene where she says, "Oh, you're all wet, now I'm all wet," could technically be Jim Gordon for all we know.
Yeah,
it's a brown trench coat. We don't see the face. So I think it's Loeb just playing with this, who is she with? Like, who's playing whom? What's going on? And
she literally quotes Two-Face. I mean, could it be more goddamn obvious?
It's very it's very clear it's Two-Face.
And it's like, as a reader, you're just like, well, maybe it's Two-Face, and then you're like, no, that'd be insane. She is insane. But she literally quotes Two-Face and says, like, "You can bend the rules, but I won't let you break them. Otherwise, how are we different from?" And she's like, "Why are you smiling?" And he's like, "You just reminded me of something, I once told Harvey Dent kind of thing. And anyway, they're like, all right, partners, you know, moving on.
Next episode is, are we on New Year's Eve yet?
That was New Year's. This is
that was New Year's Eve?
February.
Okay.
This issue is basically Catwoman chasing down leads on Carmine's body. / maybe who the Hangman is.
Yeah, I want to, okay, another creepy note. Lucia Viti looks good. Handsome woman.
I think she's supposed to. She's supposed to look sexy, but also imposing and dangerous.
Yeah, I have nothing to add. Great looking woman.
I love that scene. That scene is, well, it's not a spread, but it's like, you know, encompassing 2 pages sort of. But the greasy looks on all the cops, like on the phones, and they're like, oh, look at that lady, you know, kind of thing. And meanwhile, like, they're 2 fucking thug brothers there. It's great.
Yeah, and the Vitis are, I think they're the Chicago, like they're the main Chicago crime family, right?
Yeah, she is specifically from Chicago, but Johnny Viti like worked directly with Carmine in The Long Halloween.
I think they're
so they have like a presence in Gotham, which is those 2 dudes, and Zuko's connected to them. You know, runs kind of their crap.
And then Batman gets shot. And another art note: when he's shot and hurt, also his cape is in tatters. So I just like how his cape kind of mirrors his state.
But yes.
But it just looks kind of like weak and crumpled. I just like how the cape.
Yeah, the way it's drawn on the ground is fantastic.
Yeah,
it's just spectacular. This also ex-cop from fucking Year One gets hung while Batman is passed out from getting shot in the chest.
Yeah, and Catwoman goes after Riddler. I know we talked about it in Lonely City, but yeah, Catwoman, Riddler, they're together again in this, just for one scene, but they're together.
I loved that panel of Catwoman throwing this jabroni out of the window. Like,
it's fantastic.
Yeah, he's just a corpse.
He's already
out.
He's already passed out. He's unconscious.
I love every panel she's in. I mean, Jesus Christ, this woman is. I think I made this comment in Long Halloween, but you know that scene at the end of Ghost in the Shell where she's grabbing the cover off the tank and she gets hyper muscular.
Her muscles are rippling. Yeah,
that is what Selena looks like all the time. She looks unreal, this Catwoman. Look at this. Look at this. I wish I could be sitting on a toilet and having her beat the shit out of me, asking me questions. It's like, that's heaven. She's just incredible. Selena, Catwoman. What were we talking about? What's happening?
I don't know. I got distracted.
What's
Catwoman hunting down? Like, why Riddler?
She wants to know about Carmine's body.
Yeah, but like, what's her real?
She wants to find Carmine's body because she has to do DNA tests to find out that she's his daughter.
Yeah, it's her dad.
I think that's it. She's looking for the body to do tests and prove she's the daughter.
So who do you think knocks her out and puts her in the coffin?
No idea.
Like,
do we ever get an answer to that?
Sophia?
Maybe. Sophia? Maybe we do in When in Rome. But why would Sophia do it?
I don't know.
Like, she's technically working for / with Sophia right now. So like,
I think it's not Sophia because the next page after you see her get knocked out is Sophia at home with her 2 brothers. So
yeah, but
this is, I don't know if When in Rome addresses this. I assumed it was Harvey because Harvey has Carmine's body and
so it's gotta be him, right?
Cube at the end.
/ Porter?
Yes. Okay.
So I assumed it was, or maybe not literally Harvey, but I mean,
but one of his
Harvey's group, because they have the body, would have been the ones to know that the morgue is empty or whatever.
By the way, Two-Face having his own thing going on while the Hangman is doing the other thing makes trying to figure out who the killer is so confusing. Because on a second read, you're like, oh, clearly this is Two-Face's group and his motivation and not the Hangman and their motivation. But like, when you don't know that and it's mixed together, it makes the story so much more layered and interesting and difficult to figure out.
Like, and we'll talk about that aspect more because it comes more into play the second half. But while all this going on, Two-Face and Batman's traditional rogue gallery kind of have their own shit going on that's confusing the Hangman stuff. But I just assumed because at the end we get the reveal that Falcone's body is Mr. Freeze frozen and Two-Face has it. I figured his group is the one that is looking at the morgue and knocks out Catwoman.
There's a really the panel of her outside of the morgue, basically. I don't know if you guys can see that. I don't have a picture of it for YouTubers. It's so cat.
She's a cat. It's cat-like, yeah.
But it's the cat-like. But like, you remember she had like the hello there neon sign in her apartment.
Oh,
and, like,
yeah.
smashes it, and it says hell here kind of thing. And I'm just like, I don't know why, but that just like threw Batman Returns like straight into my brain when I saw it.
Yeah, that's true. Why would a morgue have a neon sign?
Why not?
I think it's just like the aesthetic of Gotham in general, like the way Gotham looks. Like, I think it's just like, I mean, why the giant smokestacks?
Well, that's
how many bodies are they burning?
Well, that's the burning. Yeah,
the fucking nuclear power plant.
Well, look,
burn another couple of thousand. We got to keep the lights on one more night.
Gotham has a lot of crime, man. Dude, it's a high crime rate. Lots of murders in Gotham. You got to burn them fast.
That's true.
We also get so earlier. We made that comment about the panel with Alberto kind of being Two-Face split. And here, when he's talking to his two siblings, Gigante and Mario, he talks to Gigante and says, I'm half a man, you're half a woman. Who does that remind you of? So again, kind of these Two-Face parallels. And this idea
and there's
that
also a panel of him
Harvey
holding up his wrinkled, withered hand, and that side of his face is in shadow too.
Yeah, so I just think it's this idea that Harvey and the Falcones were all kind of ruined in Long Halloween. You know, they were all sort of.
Do you think Catwoman fucked here? Would she have gotten out of that?
She would have gotten out. Are you kidding me? She would have gotten out. 100%.
She's literally begging for help from anybody.
She's literally help anybody.
She could have gotten out.
No, she would have died.
Dude, look at that muscle definition. She could just fucking flex out of that box, dude.
I mean, I kind of agree. I agree with Al.
I mean, I think if she had the time, I think she literally had seconds. Otherwise, she could have kill-billed her way out with that little punch.
Yeah, with that little punch. I mean, I agree with Al. I think if she just flexed her arms out, it would have just shattered that box. I mean, Batman rips that box apart.
Well, I also like how...
Oh, he's got a crowbar in his hand. Never mind.
Right. Well, also, she says, how did you find me? And he says, I asked the Riddler like you. And I just like this idea that Riddler was just beaten up by two vigilantes in one night. Like, one after the other, he was just attacked. And asked, where's Falcone's body? Like, 2 in a row.
The Riddler, same as you. Do you beat the shit out of the Riddler, too?
Yeah. So Riddler didn't have a fun night that evening.
Catwoman kind of puts it out on Front Street here. She's kind of like, hey, like, I know we've been dicking around this whole time, but, like, obviously you saved my life. Like, I'm not some stupid damsel in distress kind of thing. Like, you know, why don't we just take off the masks and reveal like we could be on the same side kind of thing. And he's just like, what is your relationship to the Falcon?
Dude, I like
where are the other drugs going?
I like how you phrased it as we can be on the same side, because she's literally just saying like we could fuck right now.
Well, it's not like, that. I mean, that's not that's part of it. Sure, but like, like that's enough. Again, that's huge part of it. But if they both taken off their masks and gone, "Oh, Bruce, oh, Selena, oh, fuck," like, whoa, this is what we've been doing the whole time. We mentioned this at the top of the podcast. I want to reiterate: it is inconceivable that these two people don't know who each other are. It is like my mind cannot comprehend this. I don't think it means what you think it means. Anyway, she basically like.
How do they not know that they're?
This is the official breakup right now, is what I'm saying. Like, Selena breaks up with Batman, and then 2 seconds later, she breaks up with Bruce. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's why like the When in Rome spinoff thing makes sense to me. The way she's written out of the rest of this book. She's like, "Happy Valentine's Day, your loss." Just jumps off the roof. Fuck.
So yeah, and then also, so Jim gets Barbara comes back home.
Yeah, I do love that little fucking misdirection of like the lights are on. What the fuck? Who's there? You know, like don't know.
Could be a killer. Oh, but
and he's like,
Barbara.
Oh, hi.
I gotta say, Barbara looks rough. She looks like she's had a tough time.
Great. I mean, she's the tired wife of a cop that's never home, raising a kid on her own.
She still looks tired. Yeah, she is. I think she hasn't worked through what she needs to work through yet.
I don't think so either. But I think her coming back I don't know. Why do you think she comes back?
Because he's been harassing her nonstop.
Yeah, he's been stalking her and calling her. Yeah, nonstop.
I like she says you look tired, and he's like, I am tired. Not so do you.
So the next page, I like this is so Bruce just accosts just moving men and basically attacks them and says like, "What are you doing? What's going on?" Because Selena's leaving.
I mean, does he accost them? He just
Basically, what's going on here? If you saw people moving, would you go up to these working professionals and say, "What's going on here?" Without a hello or anything, just what's going on here?
What's it look like? The lady's moving.
What? Where?
It kind of reminds me of like it feels like a like a Law and Order.
Where's Miss Kyle? I mean, he's such a piece of shit. Like, this is not how you talk to people.
Talk to the boss inside. You, Bruce Wayne? What am I saying? Of course you're Bruce Wayne. I seen your picture in the papers. What the fuck? Is there a forwarding address?
Yeah, he's such a loser. Anyway, and then he finds out that basically Selena just says like, buddy,
after a billion times
you played around.
Of her of leaving her cold, he's like, Selena, no. You know, like when he's like reading her note in the hallway, I'm like, come on, man.
Again, this is just typical man shit of like you treat someone like crap, and then when they're gone, all of a sudden, oh,
now you're sad.
Oh, now I'm sad. Oh, now I'm sad. And it's like you could have appreciated this person for the last 5 years.
How many times did you leave her alone? She finally got sick of it and left. Also, she has important shit to do, like find out who her biological father is.
Well, I like her comment about like, we both have our own shit going on, but I never would have left you alone on Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, and Valentine's Day and night. Like you couldn't make room for me for one of those fucking holidays. Also, you made plans with me and bailed each time I was at your fucking house, and like you were gone. I was with your butler.
Patrick, you're not being fair. He did go to her house with a gift that Alfred prepared for her one time.
Whatever.
That's true.
So
he brought her New Year's Day breakfast, Patty, muffins, or something, whatever's in the fucking bag. I couldn't even look in the bag. I can't look in the bag and know what's in there before I go over there. That's an insane thing to say.
Okay, and next we get the big reveal. So we see Porter again and just very sensual, like pulling up stockings, femme fatale. She's apparently got a little makeup kit with JP, her initials on it, little JP. And then we get the reveal that it's been Harvey, who's been
that's my girl,
her love interest. That's my girl. Can we talk about Harvey's shoes? That's not like a real kind of croc leather shoe. I don't like that.
Like a
that's not actual like crocodile leather shoe there.
I mean, it's exaggerated, but sure.
I know. Tim So I think he could have made a better shoe.
I would have found. I mean, what tailor is he going to have two suits sewn together?
I just don't like. I don't like the.
Is he doing it himself? Could you see him at a sewing machine, just like just like put it? Oh, a gray suit and a black suit, and like how annoying.
But they're different materials too. Like his black suit almost looks like a velvet or a suede velvet, and then the other one just looks like a wool suit,
like a crumpled velvet.
But again, that shoe.
I think it's just because the stripes are kind of reversed, or maybe I don't know.
I do love Two-Face in this book. He's going to be a bigger character later on. The fashion. I'd work with a stylist on something.
We get a brief interlude with the Penguin. This is the one where I feel like I'm a little lost as to why the fucking Penguin's involved at all.
I think just because we have to involve the entire Rose.
The Scarecrow one kind of makes sense.
Yet? Is this issue 6?
This is 6. We're going to 7.
So we have 2 more, ladies and gentlemen. We have 2 more issues. I'm sorry, we're gonna get there. I think this is just because we have to include the entire Rose Gallery. So this is Penguin's issue.
I think this is just to highlight the fact that the crazy rogues are encroaching onto the traditional gangsters.
Yeah, it's also whittling away Zuko's plans / options so that he'll eventually murder Robin's parents. it's working Zuko into a hole, so he has nothing left but to strong arm the circus.
Which goes into kind of a point I wanted to make generally is I think they introduced Robin too late in this.
Yeah,
like they should have introduced him kind of sooner and had him be a character throughout more of it than just sort of the...
So Loeb said something along the lines of like he needed Selina to be gone before he brought Robin in, like meaning like I don't know that Bruce somehow like couldn't deal with having two emotional people in his life.
That's a lot for it's a lot for a straight man to be emotionally attached to more than one person. It's difficult to navigate.
I think
Alfred,
the idea is that like he wouldn't have done the Robin thing if he wasn't like if he had like Selina there, or something. It's not that he like, you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
It's true. He just needs one person to mistreat, whether it's a child or Selina. But it has to be one. He can't
stop bad mouthing Batman. This is the best Batman comic ever.
All right, I just mean he can't ignore two people. It's got to be one at a time. We also do get introduced to Gordon's new task force he brings in of kind of uncorrupt cops to help him chase down.
Yeah, this is the list of names that Chief Clancy O'Hara.
Clancy O'Hara.
That was the worst Irish I've ever heard
Clancy
in my life.
O'Hara. That's how the HBO Penguin talks to an Irish bro. Top of the morning. Or does Colin Farrell, does he do an American accent or does he talk Irish?
Colin
the Penguin.
American for sure.
He's American. He's not supposed to be Irish.
The Joker's in this. This is the first. We don't see the Joker before this, right? Isn't this the first Joker appearance?
Yeah, this is the first Joker.
I think this is it. So Joker confronts Harv.
Yeah, the task force is interesting. I just want to say real quick, only in the sense of like, it seems like it's Gordon finally. Well, not that he hasn't been putting this together since fucking issue 1 when Clancy gave him the list of names, but it seems in a direct response to the fact that Batman won't work with him directly anymore. You know what I mean? Like he needs other allies. He's like, I need somebody that I can trust. He needs,
if it's not Batman, he needs another force of people that can act extrajudiciously and just like attack people and break into.
He needs another group of people that he can trust.
Is that not what I said? I'm sorry, Joe. Is that not what I said?
Yeah. Trust to do the extrajudicial things he needs done.
Bash doors in.
He needs someone that's just gonna blast bullet after bullet after bullet down the city, down a neighborhood street.
That was the best part. Was
oh man, let's get there. Let's get there. Oh, Mario. So Mario has disowned Sophia and kicked her out of the fucking penthouse apartment or whatever. And she's like, God damn you. And
because basically this is the conflict here is that, again, Mario wants to take the family legit. Sophia is still being mafia.
Yeah.
So
and he's like,
you're just gone. I'm going to kick you out.
And then but when he walks back in, you think he's talking to the hangman. Turns out it's Porter or Two-Face? Porter.
I think it's Porter.
Who do you think's in the shadows there? Oh, they're wearing a hat, I think. I don't know. It's hard.
No, it is Two-Face because Porter's at the bar immediately after, so it must be Two-Face.
That's a classic comick misdirect, buddy. It could be 5.
Well, whatever.
There's scenes where Batman's Batman, and 2 seconds later is Bruce Wayne. Like it's
okay. Well, whether it's Porter or Two-Face, it's
really between the panels, Al.
It's the same group, whether it's Porter.
Yeah, they're drinking green beer at St. Patty's Day. They're hanging out.
We do get a little Babs Porter talk where Porter tries to egg out, like, do you think Gilda's still alive? Where is she? Kind of.
You were friends with her, right?
Trying to
why are you asking?
out.
Maybe because I'm fucking Two-Face right now. No big deal.
And the cool thing about the Two-Face Joker interaction is Joker refers to Two-Face as Harv still, as Harvey. Like, hey, Harv, I'm Joker. And Two-Face just beats the shit out of him and says, this is Two-Face now. I'm Two-Face. So,
and I think that's kind of evident since the breakout. Like Two-Face has been in charge, kind of thing. Like that's what's been going on. Like Harvey was willing to just sit in the asylum. Like I think he was speaking truthfully when he was telling Batman, "You don't need to bolt the door. I'm not running out of here," kind of thing. But Two-Face is like, "You idiot, Harvey," and flips the. I think this has just been Two-Face nonstop since then.
Yeah. All right, let's go to issue. I think issue 7 is the last issue we'll cover tonight. So let's go. Actually, I loved this issue. The Criminal Tribunal of Calendar Man was next level.
Yeah, this was.
Real quick, the only thing I want to mention that kind of bridges the gap between both of these issues is the foggy death scene that we get again with Merkel's death, and I love it. I just love it.
Merkel is the latest Hangman.
Fantastic.
Death.
And that death marks the end of the 6 and then rolls right into 7. But like this is the scene where I was talking about where what's her name just like if you look at the amount of bullets she's shooting down the street, it's insane. Like they're in a neighborhood. There's like 78 bullet casings coming out of her pistol. Like I know it's a comic book and it's not necessary, but that means she like reloaded like 3 times. It was just like blam 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 blam.
Joe,
like Gordon's like, Batman's gone, but like calm down. Like,
again, Joe, these are all cops that Gordon can trust.
Yeah,
to find the answers he needs.
I think he's gone. Like fucking.
I loved Gordon's reaction because in the last issue he said Batman's not part of this investigation. If you see him, take appropriate action. And so in this
and the cops assume that means shoot him. Yeah.
I mean, take appropriate action means fucking light up a fucking neighborhood.
Yeah, just light that dude
no
up.
less.
Yeah.
You can't see 20 feet down the street, let alone know if there's like, I don't know, some guy walking his dog.
I like how they make the comment. They're like, "Well, you told us to take appropriate action."
Yeah.
He's like, well, it's not to destroy a neighborhood with bullets.
He says, "Does shooting up a quiet neighborhood sound like appropriate action to you?" Like it's like, are you guys fucking stupid? What's going on?
Yeah.
Also, I want to ask this question. We can edit this out, but I feel like we got to talk about it. Because we see like a Two-Face sex scene, basically. I mean, do you think his penis is half? Is his dick
right?
half?
It was just his face, right?
Yeah.
The acid was just thrown in his face.
Yeah.
But his whole suit is half. So did he like...
Honestly, good question. He's crazy enough to maybe disfigure.
Did he just make all of his half a half?
Yes!
Because
he's sewing suits together. We were just talking about it.
well, I just mean if he went through the trouble of making his entire suit half, did he just...
Who do you think sews the suits together? You think it's Harvey or Two-Face? Do you think Two-Face goes like this and then Harvey's like sewing the suit together with like one hand?
No, I think he makes the Mad Hatter sew one half and Scarecrow sew the other half.
Oh man. No, it's just his face and like hand. Like he put his hand on his face, like he held his hand up to stop that. So like it's his hand and like his face and neck kind of.
Okay.
Do you think there's just like a line? How do you think?
Just this half body, like you know how Metamorpho has like quadrants? It's just like a half Two-Face.
You know that sounds insane, right? Like what you're saying right now.
Well, he isn't. I mean, he's an insane creature.
I mean, I don't understand how to like. Does he? He has to have eye drops, right? Like, how do you walk around without an eyelid?
Oh yeah, he's got it. He does.
He's got to be like
100%. He does eye drops. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that eye functions? Is that because it's a different color? It's just a red.
Yeah, it does
like,
look very bloodshot
functional
and like destroyed. But I mean, like that's another thing. Does he have 2 eyes that can see still? Is he blind in that eye?
Well, it's just a red pupil with like
would make sense if
maybe
he's
it's a non-functional eye. Well, although it tracks like his other eye.
Well, I mean, the muscle movement might still be there. Although, I mean, not a lot of skin left. Anyway,
there's probably Reddit threads about that. We could probably get answers about this.
How do you guys feel about the traditional like the straight line down the face, or do you like it to be like how Tim Sale draws it? Like it's a little less. Like, do you like the crisp, clean line?
No, I like the Tim Sale way.
Yeah, me too. I'm a fan of like the not necessarily exact,
I honestly, I kind of don't. I like it both. I'm fine with both.
I mean, I think it works well as a straight line in like
both.
the animated series, but that's a cartoon. But even in a comic book where it's hand drawn,
how is it in
I want them to take the time to show a little more deviation.
Well, so I think in the Dark Knight, it's basically a straight line, right?
No.
Doesn't it basically just go like that?
Tommy Lee Jones had a straight line, but he ridiculously held.
Okay, well, we all know that Batman Forever
held up a folder.
Okay, first of all, Batman Forever is the greatest Batman film ever. I mean, I think we all agree that there's never been a better.
It's pretty fantastic. Yeah.
Batman movie.
Yeah.
Tommy Lee Jones, was it a full just that Tommy Lee Jones was a straight line?
Was straight. Yeah, it was just a straight bisection of his face.
But let me look at Two-Face Dark Knight because I feel like that was a straight line.
What's that guy's name?
Aaron.
It's not.
Aaron
never
Eckhart.
mind. Yeah, it was not a straight line. Never mind.
Well, he wasn't doused with that. He got blown up or whatever.
He got burnt. He got covered in oil and then burnt. But that's not a straight line. I gotta say, I like Tommy Lee Jones look better than Aaron Eckhart. So I'm gonna go with the even line as the better.
Tommy Lee Jones also clearly has a seamstress at work, making him like amazing.
Yeah.
Well, it was Drew Barrymore. She was his angel girl.
Oh yeah, he had little people.
Drew Barrymore was his little angel girl.
Well, he had
Speaking of angel girl, I don't know if you knew this, Patrick. I don't know if you knew this, Patrick, but when Joe and I first met working at one of 3 local franchises of Alessio's pizza chain in the suburban Atlanta area, his little nickname for me was his little angel girl.
That's true. Yeah.
And when I clocked into work and I'd come in, Joe would say, "Where's my little angel girl?" And I'd say, "She's here." and we would work. And I don't know if he had a nickname for you, Patrick, because you also worked at Alessio's, but he'd call me, just like Drew Barrymore for Two-Face, he'd call me Angel Girl.
Yeah.
At Alessio's Pizza.
Do you think Drew Barrymore's name was Janice Porter?
I don't think so. Let's IMDb it.
Yeah, she doesn't.
I want to IMDb Batman Forever. Was she?
Her names are like Sugar and Spice or something stupid.
I think it is something like that, actually, now that you mention it. I think it is, because there was like the Devil Girl and the Angel Girl. It is literally Sugar and Spice. Man. So yeah, Drew Barrymore was Sugar.
Oh my god.
And Debbie Mazar was Spice. It's their literal name in that film. Okay, Calendar Man.
I mean, I wasn't joking. It was based on like some semblance of remembering that, but like I didn't think I was right.
Okay, we're on the last issue. Let's do this. So Calendar Man, first of all, got some prison tats. He's got the months tattooed on his forehead, so good for him. Look at his expression. Man, he is the sassy.
He is, and I love how he's fucking with Two-Face in the witness stand, because he's like, do you know who the holiday killer was all along? And he's like, did you? And he's like, yes, I did. And he's like, did you tell them? And he's like, no. And he's like, I want you to tell me. And he's like, Holiday was actually. And he's like, not that. I know who Holiday was. Kind of thing. Like, I love that fucking interaction.
I love all of their back and forth. My crimes never included murder. Never. Who prosecuted for your crimes? You did. Me. I mean, Harvey Dent. Like, he's just so. I love all.
Yeah.
This.
Well, I love the closing argument from Calendar Man, because Dent's like, who is the hangman? And Calendar Man's like,
specifically Two-Face is trying this crime.
He goes, if Harvey Dent's files are being used by the hangman and Dent knows who is in those files, maybe you should ask him. And I thought it was like, he's being very salty and sassy, which is interesting and fun, but it kind of speaks to how divided Two-Face's personality is, where it's like literally Harvey is able to keep secrets from.
Oh, they're completely different people.
They're 100% different people. That's why I was saying, like, back at Arkham, he was like, I trust that Harvey was being genuine when he was like, I'm not going to escape, kind of thing. But that being said, the fact that he goes, maybe Harvey Dent is the hangman, and Two-Face is like, fuck, is he? Like, kind of thing. And you're just like, holy shit, how do you not know? It's you, brother. Like, kind of thing. I love that.
Well, Joe, I mean, first of all, I thematically, I love that. On a literal level, this is a world where Batman and Catwoman don't know that they're Bruce Wayne.
That's true.
So it's very easy for Two-Face to not know that Harvey's the killer. Tim Sale note. I love how he draws the rogues gallery kind of like iconography.
Yeah.
You have Freeze's helmet, the question mark, Scarecrow's hat. They're just kind of like iconographic.
He draws everyone so iconically in the background. That like a mere silhouette quickly identifies like who's who, but also just like, does it make sense that the question mark isn't black? Like, and it's just not the shape of a bowler hat? No, of course not. But like, I love that, that's how he draws it. It's spectacular.
Yeah, but it's great. And again, I love Calendar Man playing Harvey and Two-Face.
I mean, I know it's kind of like a normal thing. This is a mild tangent. But like Poison Ivy, I feel like this is the first instance in my recollection that she was ever drawn as this like elemental type. Like the ivy is just flowing off of her body and like alive, like kind of thing. Like she's always been like more of a woman that has plants around her, and this is more like the plants are her kind of thing. which has been way played up in the comics in recent years. But like, I think that's interesting. I wonder if that like started here with them, because like I don't feel
Yeah,
like
I'm
I
not sure
recall
where that
ever being
aesthetic kind
that
of
way
started.
until these comics. Not that
It
she's a
might
very
have been
prominent
because I mean,
character,
Long Halloween was
specifically
the
Long Halloween. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean that was the '90s, so that really might have been the first time
it
that
might have been. I
it
want
sort of
to
drew
say
that
like
way.
I think it's definitely the first time I remember her ever being like draped in fucking like, you know, just like all cup flowing off of her head. Like she doesn't have hair. It's just all ivy.
It's
Anyway,
flowers and ivy. Yeah.
I love how she's drawn in this. That's all.
Yeah, no, but I just loved the trial scene is great, and just the way Calendar Man plays Two-Face and Harvey it's pretty
So
great.
there's a strenuous workout montage with Bruce.
Oh, I made the same. I just wanted to talk about his workout regimen is fucking insane. So he does Houdini escapes. He hammers
smashes rock apart while Alfred's like, "Well done, Master Bruce," from up on a hill. I mean, I don't know, like clearing your mind, like doing something physical like that so you can think clearly. That works for me. I mean, I do that with art sort of thing.
Yeah, the part that unnerved me is that in every one of these panel montages, Alfred is in the background just staring at him workout.
He's there in case he needs him for anything.
Yeah. He kills himself.
His partner.
It's a little unnerving. You know, I don't know. It's a little weird.
If you think about it in the way that like Alfred sees him.
What's going on with his fucking foot there?
There's a little bit of Tim Sale in this where you're just like, he looks like he's like he got stuck for only a moment, just a moment, you know, like a little Grinch going down the chimney.
I don't know if like in the Batman Superman thing, Ben Affleck does like a CrossFit workout, which kind of makes sense. Like if you want to get ripped, sure, you flip a tire or whatever. This workout is like you're chained up in a Houdini pool and you're crawling down a chimney. What are you doing?
Being in death traps from supervillains. That's obvious. Come on.
I don't know if I think the CrossFit one probably makes more sense.
I mean, the breaking the breaking the rock apart with a sledgehammer, that's the same thing, right?
When would you ever
same thing as sledgehammering a tire.
But he's also blindfolded. Why do you need to be blind while you're doing that?
Anyway, this is the part where Patrick.
What do you mean anyway? He's blindfolded hammering rock, Joe. Explain that workout to me.
To make it harder.
He's hammering a mountain in front of him with a I don't understand any of these workouts.
Well, that's why you're not Batman, Al. Come on. It's clear, quite clear.
Okay. All right, so whatever. So he works out. It's it's fine. And then he punches the computer.
Afterwards, he still can't work out what's going on. And Alfred's like, maybe you should not be on your own in this kind of thing. And he's like,
Oh, Joe, actually, we should have. That's a good. We should re-edit this in. But the one thing he can't work out is the solution to the murder.
Yeah.
Killer. Yeah, we should use that as the line to transition. And then he punches the computer screen that's probably worth $2,000.
So, but here's the key, though.
In frustration.
He had he got doused with the scarecrow fear gas kind of thing, and he didn't do anything about it. And Alfred's like, all right, I'll go get my medical bag.
Yes.
So his erratic nature is like supposedly like that's part of like what he's been pushing her away and like getting a little crazier because of fear of being alone pushes everybody away. That makes sense. It tracks. For Bruce.
Yeah, but I feel like Alfred's responses to this are more like the scarecrow gas is just Batman rationalizing his isolating behavior, and Alfred is just kind of like wink and nod going along with it. He says like, I'll ellipsis fetch my medical bag. And then he says, the only problem with being alone, Master Bruce, is being alone, with kind of like a sassy look in his eyes. I think he's kind of saying, I'm not sure it's really the scarecrow.
No, yeah, for guy. Sure. Yeah.
I think you're just isolating yourself, and that's the problem. And then anyway, Gordon almost gets hangmaned.
Classic April Fools,
This is another one that in the moment reading it was confusing because Harvey's there too. Like Gordon is getting hangmaned, and Harvey is there at the rope.
So it
And
all
it's
tracks
just
though, and it
kind of
makes
like a
sense in
lot.
a way.
Yeah,
Because Harvey, or Two-Face rather, put Calendar Man on trial and realized that like, fuck, maybe it is me kind of thing, or he doesn't know. I don't. Him going to talk to Gordon isn't that insane after that. Like the tracking of like where they are in the scenes is so well thought through that although this is wildly coincidental that Gordon doesn't get fucking murdered here, I think it's kind of awesome because it sets up like, fuck, is it Harvey? and Two-Face is like, oh, I think it was him, kind of thing. And I just love the fucking beat of like, well, first of all, Batman swoops in and he's like, sorry to disappoint you, Bats, and he's like, stop, like kind of thing. He's like, he cut me down, Batman. And he's like, I love how he goes, Two-Face, did you see who else was up here? And he just goes, go to hell.
So my one complaint about this is I think Loeb could have done a better job of playing off of that idea that Harvey and Two-Face are two different people and making you wonder, was Harvey trying to kill Gordon and did Two-Face cut the rope?
I think that's exactly what happened.
Well, I didn't quite, but I feel like he could have, like, they could have gone more in depth on that angle. I just didn't think it was.
I think the only reason it's not going more in depth there is because he's trying to leave it a mystery to like us as the reader, like.
Yeah, I get. I just, but I would have
trying to not. I mean, we're only halfway through the story. He doesn't want to like reveal the killer, so like he's trying to leave it open to the idea that like maybe they don't, maybe that's still the case. And the fact that Harvey doesn't speak once in this scene, it's all Two-Face talking, due to the erratic nature of the lettering. Just like. I don't know. It's pretty interesting that like maybe Harvey threw the noose over and hung Gordon, and then also Two-Face is the one cutting him down because he doesn't want the cops to suspect and Batman to suspect that Harvey's the killer because he's trying to do his own thing. And then obviously we know that now, but like in the scene now, in the moment, as the reader, you don't want to know yet. Like
right,
you can't play that up too hard, or like it would reveal.
Yeah, I just think I would have liked them to play it up a little bit more because I don't know. I just didn't think it really hit, but I did like that dynamic of sort of our Harvey and Two-Face, like literally two people at odds and kind of doing two different things. Yeah, and I wish Loeb had kind of veered a little bit more into exploring that.
Yeah,
which I don't think we totally get. We do get a little shot of the Haley Circus and the flying raisins.
Side note, I don't know if it's in the digital copy or yours out, but the back Commissioner Gordon at the desk every time, love it.
I get those.
I know, like just as an art note, as we end this half of the story, like I love the Commissioner Gordon back pages with the different like things pinned to the board behind them, and it shifts and changes as the story progresses. It's great.
And every one of them is, the billboard, the bulletin board changes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, and it's always the color highlight of like whatever's going on is the color highlight on the back, and like it's just artistically phenomenal cover design, back and front.
Before we end issue 7, I want to make a note. Did y'all notice how fucking weird Dick Grayson's dad looks? He's bald and has like a 20s giant mustache. He looks like a 20s circus.
He's literally never been depicted that way in any other iteration.
I know, but look at that. I don't know if I guess if you're on YouTube, can you see? He looks fucking bizarre. He looks
like a circus strongman that would like hold up a barbell with two giant.
Like an old timey, like Monstro, the strongman can lift. Yeah, it's his.
Thank you for that,
shorts.
For the audio listeners, Patty just zoomed way in on his crotch, and there's nothing there.
Well, why?
It's frilly tutu shorts.
Like it's a tutu.
They're wearing little flowery circus shorts. I get it.
Let me rephrase that in a way maybe the podcast audience can understand. He and his wife are wearing the same costume.
The same, yes.
There is no dimorphism between the male and female. Like it is the same costume of tutu shorts.
Yeah,
and like
as is their son.
Tops. As is the child. Yeah, the child is also wearing the same.
I mean, my wife.
I just when I
ridiculous costumes.
when I saw what his dad looked like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, this can't be.
Do you think
dad.
Do you think he chose it, or do you think the wife did? And he's like, all right, fine.
He 100% chose it.
Yeah, he chose it.
I'm not even talking about the costume. Like the bald head.
He's
and
like, all right, fine. It'll be red and
mustache.
green, but it has to be frilly frou or tutu pants. And she's like, really? All right. Weird choice.
What a decision to draw him that way.
It's literally that random scene from Family Guy where Peter comes down in the same dress as Lois, and he's like, oh, well, one of us is going to have to change.
Yeah. It's exactly that. I just couldn't believe. I mean, it's unreal.
On that note, the reason the Flying Graces are in discussion right now is because Zuko's last option for transporting illegal goods in and out of the city without getting notice is through the circus.
It's a circus, yeah.
So it's setting up the Haley circus thing, but like, holy shit, that was the best conversation I've ever had. The Robin.
I mean, did you not notice that? Like, you saw.
Oh no, of course. Like it stands out like a sore thumb. It's ridiculous.
It's fucking crazy.
I mean, like Robin's costume is always meant to be like, this is my circus costume, and I'm just wearing my circus. That's why like people are like, you look fucking ridiculous with your little boots, and like, why does he still wear it? And he's like, yeah, this is what my parents died in.
This is what my 20s strongman father died in.
I know, like, what the fuck? It's so funny.
It's crazy. All right, so we're done. So that's issue. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait a minute. Do you guys start?
We're doing a Bechdel test halfway through.
Can you restart the recording? Because I'm hearing a weird thing on my.
What is it?
Does this pass the Bechdel test? The Bechdel test. The Bechdel test. Does this pass the Bechdel test? The answer's probably no. And it's no. This one doesn't.
I mean, it kind of does with Sophia and Catwoman.
Yeah, Sophia and Catwoman talk.
Oh, that's true. They aren't talking about Batman in that one scene.
They are talking about their dead father, though. Does that count?
No,
talking about his
it just
torch.
doesn't have to be the protagonist. I think as long as they're talking about like a non-love interest man, it's fine.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, then it does.
So it is technically, yeah, it is. So it does pass. I take it back. It does.
And then any instance of it passing it in part 2 is out the window because she goes to Rome.
Yeah, she's completely. I mean, it reverse fails.
Yeah, it's reverse.
There's not even a female character.
I mean, we'll analyze the next 6 issues when we get there.
Also Babs. No, but it's true because when Babs and Porter talk, they're talking about Harvey and Gilda. So it's kind of talking about Harvey. So it doesn't really, but it does pass because of that. All right, so that's part 1. Ladies and gentlemen, again. I guess not again because we haven't mentioned this yet, but please follow our podcast on Spotify or iTunes or wherever you follow podcasts.
Yeah, wherever you go.
We have accounts on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. So please subscribe and follow if you want more content. And we'll be back next time with part 2.
Yeah. All right.
Good journey, Couchers.
Goodbye.